Known as the Shadow Reaper, he spreads pure terror among bandits. To see his face is to embrace death. This legend is 𝒂𝒓, a name so fearsome the king personally seeks to recruit him for the secret guard. Countless impostors claim his title for fame. Among the fakes, a massive, muscular man steps forward to enlist. He claims to be the legendary 𝒂𝒓, but a witness recognizes him as a cold-blooded, wanted murderer. He is a bandit spy aiming for the king's life. Just as the blade nears the king's throat, a massive force slams him into the dirt. The attacker is a small, wrapped boy who looks harmless, yet vengeful spirits swirl around him. This boy is the true 𝒂𝒓, the living legend of slaughter. At the word bandit, his blood boils. He unleashes a storm of strikes fueled by pure, unbridled rage. Only his sister's touch stops the carnage. He only came to join the guard to feed his family. The king's face darkens as he refuses. With such a humble motive, I cannot accept you into service. Unable to sway the king, 𝒂𝒓 leads his sister away under the heavy, judgmental gazes of the crowd. Near their village, tragedy strikes. A stray arrow pierces the air and plunges into his sister's young heart. The bandits finally tracked him down. Overcome by soul-crushing grief, 𝒂𝒓's sanity finally snaps into total darkness. He becomes a demon, massacring every bandit without mercy. When the king's men arrive, only blood remains. They find him wandering the snow, lost. Suddenly, 𝒂𝒓's face brightens, seeing his sister standing behind the king. The siblings embrace in a tearful reunion. But 3 seconds later, the king draws his imperial blade. With one cold strike, he executes the girl. Only then does 𝒂𝒓 learn the devastating, horrific truth. 5 years ago, the bandits killed everyone. You were the sole survivor, 𝒂𝒓. Your sister died then. 𝒂𝒓 looks down. His arms are empty. The realization hits like lightning. He has been holding nothingness. Desperate and broken, he searches for her ghost. The king watches this tragedy with deep, heavy sympathy. 𝒂𝒓's mind created an illusion to survive the trauma. He has been alone, chasing a haunting memory. He remembers his father's final wish: protect your sister. They hid together as the village burned. From the shadows, they watched the bandits' blades end their family. 𝒂𝒓 memorized the leader's face forever. He escaped the carnage, carrying his sister while swearing a blood oath of vengeance against the world. He didn't notice the arrow in her back. Hope flickered when they met an old village elder. "Don't pull the arrow. Reach the river," the elder cried. "A boat is waiting for your escape." Suddenly, an arrow kills the elder. The bandits have closed in. There is no more time left. Leaving everything behind, 𝒂𝒓 runs in terror, his sister's life fading with every desperate step he takes. He barely reaches the boat and rows away. The bandits stop, laughing at the struggling, broken child. But their leader, the three-knotted man, orders fire. Only the dead tell no tales. Kill them both. Exhausted and trembling, 𝒂𝒓 rows with all his might. Suddenly, a flaming arrow pierces the wooden hull. A rain of fire descends. The boat shatters, dragging both siblings into the cold, dark depths of the river. Despite his desperate struggle, 𝒂𝒓 watches his sister sink. His screams are swallowed by the silent, icy water. The memory shatters him. He clutches his head, howling in agony. The king steps forward to offer comfort. "Turn your rage into a shield for this nation," the king says. "Join my elite force, the secret guard." Seeing a new path, 𝒂𝒓 agrees. The king hands him a shimmering royal token of high authority. "When winter ends, bring this to the capital. You will be reborn as a warrior of the crown." The journey begins. 𝒂𝒓 sits down to a meal, reflexively offering a chicken leg to his sister. But the seat is empty. Guard Yunmang grabs the food instead, praising 𝒂𝒓 for letting go. Yunmang is a legendary swordsman with a twisted personality. He pulls out a bottle of strong liquor. He urges 𝒂𝒓 to head to the capital and offers a drink. 𝒂𝒓 refuses, but eventually gives in. 1 cup is all it takes for the boy to collapse. Yunmang smirks. What an interesting little monster. He shamelessly searches 𝒂𝒓's body and steals the royal token. A smooth path is just too boring. Kid. This old man is truly shameless. Late that night, 𝒂𝒓 wakes with a throbbing headache and heavy heart. Recalling Yunmang's advice, he reaches for the token in his shirt. Panic sets in, it is gone. He vowed to his sister to become a legend. Suddenly, his face pales as he searches frantically. He screams as his precious item vanishes. Finally, The day of the elite selection arrives. While others are eager, Yi looks dazed. He mumbles. Where did the king's token go? It is finally his turn. Scratching his head, he claims he was already handpicked by the king, but he admits he lost the royal pass. An awkward silence falls over the recruitment office. The official roars, "Kick this liar out." Just another crazy brat on the very first day. Among the warriors, Yi joins the crowd. The examiner sneers, remembering the boy's earlier boast. The trial begins. Reach the peak for a red arrow. 10 winners out of 350. Before the signal fades, the warriors charge. They vanish into the dark, treacherous forest depths. Yi suddenly stops. Bodies of fallen candidates are already scattered across the forest floor. He senses a hidden threat. Like a flash, Yi ducks to avoid a lethal ambush. A gang of thugs emerges, led by 𝒂𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒍. They intend to sabotage the entire exam. Their plan is cowardly. Ambush the winners and steal their arrows to pass without any effort. This dirty trick ignites Yi's fury. He swings a simple branch, smashing it into 𝒂𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒍. How could you think of such a pathetic scheme? The impact is so violent, the wood shatters. Silence grips the forest. Everyone watches in horror as the feared 𝒂𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒍 is easily struck. Yi's voice turns ice cold. A flashy weapon is worthless if you have no real spirit. If you plan to be a villain, at least carry a weapon that is not useless. 𝒂𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒍 trembles with rage and disbelief. He screams at his men, "What are you waiting for?" As the mob surges forward, a mysterious figure watches from a distant peak, hidden in shadows. General Choi Yun-di gazes down. The brawling candidates have no idea they are being observed. They shove and shout, blinded by greed. Every move is being judged from high above. Suddenly, another figure appears. General Lee Sun-mong joins the watch, his presence heavy and imposing. Choi scowls, stepping aside. "Why are you pestering me? Go stand somewhere else," he snaps. Lee Sun-mong ignores the cold shoulder. He squints at the massive crowd gathered for the test. Choi mutters they have no choice. Success means escaping the draft and changing their miserable fates. It is a chance to shed low-born status. Lee nods, acknowledging the king's unprecedented offer. These terms are unheard of in history. Choi's expression hardens as he considers the king's motives. How much blood and sweat has the king poured into creating this elite Shadow Guard organization? Lee Sun-mong searches the chaos below. Now, where has our little monster Yi hidden? You mean the boy who received the royal token last winter? The general asks with curiosity. Shouldn't the token holders be elsewhere? Lee explains there was a minor complication in the plan. Due to an error, he must now fight through the common ranks like everyone else. Choi's face darkens. Giving a mere child that token was an absolute joke, he growls. The Shadow Guard is the North's most elite force. That token represents the highest royal trust. Carved from ocean blue jade with a red cord, it bears a dragon rising over the waves. I know the boy's past is tragic, but that token is a sacred privilege for true warriors. He is just a boy. What right does a child have to carry the king's dragon? Lee Sun-mong chews on grass. Do not be fooled. His martial talent is truly terrifying. At only 12 years old, he hunted down a den of bandits alone, and he survived. Lee explains that combat experience is key. It is the most vital trait for any swordsman. For a master, the battlefield is the only true teacher. And this boy has seen enough. Combine that experience with his innate genius, and you have a monster that defies the heavens. Back in the fray, Yi is a blur. He dodges a strike and counterattacks perfectly. Another assassin lunges from his blind spot, but Yi senses the killing intent instantly. Fatal miss. Agony explodes. Dodge, friendly fire. Counterkick. Groin strike. Torment. Another victim. Impact. Wood shatters. Unshaken. Rotten branch. Bruised. Monstrous intent. Nonsense. True terror. Sinister joy. Bloodlust. Kill. Vicious scream. One blow. Collapse. Confirmed. Wood hurts. My turn. Fear. Mercy. Cowardly retreat. Partnership. Deal offered. Scorn. Solo king. Pass alone. Logic. Fool. Endless enemies. Muscles. Truly reliable. 18. Bored gaze. Strategist. Youthful lack. I'm Gi-young. Familiar? Great name. Team. Swollen face. Empty. Where's prey? Strange. Silence peaks. Move. What's next? Summit. Dangerous mystery. True. High speed. Hurry! Sunset race! Flash. Gone instantly. Idiot. Plan ruined. Comrades, keep up. Comrades, pure shock. Why hit? Monster. Power. Terrifying youth. Useful tool. Naive. Weapon. Winning play. Peak. Arrow storm. Arrived. Summit victory. Late. Predator waits. Elite. La Yurong. Fodder. Absolute dominance. Examiner. Pure chaos. Look. The token. Yutrong sat there with a cold sneer. Do you even grasp what this is, or are you just playing the fool? Guyan let out a lazy yawn. I had one before, but I lost it. That's why I'm stuck in this mess. Yutrong stood up, his gaze heavy. I heard a delusional commoner was bragging about a token. So, it was you. How you knew of its existence is a mystery. This token is proof the king has recognized a true hero. He marched forward aggressively. To be the king's sword is a sacred honor, not something for low-born scum like you. Guyan stiffened at the insult. Suddenly, 𝑮𝒂𝒓𝒕𝒊𝒂𝒍 stepped forward. You sure have a foul mouth for a noble. He glared at the examiner's stance. You must be from some elite family, though how you became a proctor is baffling. But surely you know this trial is supposed to ignore one's birthright and status, don't you? He tilted his head with a smirk. Yet here you are, barking about low-born scum. Is your strength not enough? 2 branches were tossed down. Pick them up, Yutrong barked. Both of you, come at me at the same time. If I acknowledge you, you can have an arrow. But 𝑮𝒂𝒓𝒕𝒊𝒂𝒍 grabbed both sticks. Guyan, stay back. This is a once-in-a-lifetime chance, he roared, charging. A golden opportunity to beat some sense into a noble. I can finally punish a high and mighty elite without any consequences. 𝑮𝒂𝒓𝒕𝒊𝒂𝒍 lunged with everything he had. Yutrong dodged with ease as the wood whistled past his head. In a blur, he parried the heavy blow. 𝑮𝒂𝒓𝒕𝒊𝒂𝒍 grinned wildly. How does the strength of a lowborn feel? Pretty impressive, right? He attacked even harder. Pampered nobles, like you don't know what real muscles are, he screamed, putting his soul into the strike. I'll force you to your knees. 𝑮𝒂𝒓𝒕𝒊𝒂𝒍 slammed his stick down, but Yutrong had already vanished. He appeared behind him like a ghost. I didn't expect much, but you're exactly the pathetic trash I imagined. He delivered a crushing blow to 𝑮𝒂𝒓𝒕𝒊𝒂𝒍 spine. You bastard! The giant roared, spinning around in fury. Yutrong ducked low, shattering 𝑮𝒂𝒓𝒕𝒊𝒂𝒍 leg with a strike. The man collapsed, howling in absolute agony. He tried to curse, but another strike landed on his shoulder. Yutrong showed no mercy, raining down blows. He beat the kneeling man relentlessly. Since you were born low, you should at least learn some proper manners. He continued the assault. If your behavior is as low as your birth, you should at least know your limits. His eyes turned dark. When your talent is this bottom tier, you need to learn some damn humility. He went for another strike, but Guyan suddenly grabbed his collar and yanked him back. Stop right there. You're taking this too far, Guyan said. Is this an exam or a murder scene? Among all the candidates in Joseon. Before he could finish, a hand clamped firmly around his throat. Yutrong pinned him down, his aura radiating pure killing intent. I told you already, he hissed. Scum should know their place. He raised his hand to strike, but suddenly froze in shock. His weapon was gone. Guyan lay on the ground, twirling the stolen stick with a smirk. Looking for this? Asterisk. When did he snatch it? Asterisk, Yutrong thought. Nearby, 𝑮𝒂𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒍 wheezed. He might be a bit simple, but his martial strength is anything but lowborn. Guyan launched a sudden, powerful strike at his legs. Yutrong cried out in pain and countered instantly, knocking Guyan back to the dirt. In that instant, Guyan snatched the weapon back. I'm the faster one this time, he cheered. His frightening speed left the examiner shaken. Yutrong swung in a rage, but Guyan blocked effortlessly. The duel intensified. They traded wooden strikes before drawing real steel, both determined to end the other. Suddenly, the general intervened. I knew something was wrong when no one returned. Yutrong, stand down. I ordered you to test them, not butcher them. You even drew live steel against a recruit? Despite the scolding, he acted innocent and snapped the arrows. Group 3 has failed. No one passes. Just then, 𝑮𝒂𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒍 stepped forward with a pristine arrow. I've already won the prize. He had pickpocketed the arrow during the chaos. Guyan nearly cried. thinking his hard work was wasted. Finally, both were recognized and moved to the second round. All the survivors gathered for the next trial. The legendary General Yi Sun-sin appeared as the proctor. He immediately demonstrated his godlike archery skills. From dozens of meters away, his arrow pierced a tiny plum dead center. The precision was terrifying. "This is your final test," he declared. "Stand perfectly still, and hold this plum for your lives." A melon is a massive target. Surely this is easy. A brave soul steps forward. But this trial is far from simple. The stakes are lethal. Before drawing his bow, General Li Sun-mong downs a whole bottle of spirits. This is pure madness. The bowstring screams. An arrow whistles through the air while Mandu clutches the target, his face turning ghostly pale with terror. Panic explodes. As the arrow nears, Mandu's courage shatters. He collapses in a heap, screaming as his life flashes before him. "Pathetic," General Li scoffs, his fun ruined by a coward. The target holder shivers, paralyzed by the cold shadow of near death. Drenched in cold sweat, the man gasps for air. His eyes are hollow as he curses his own foolishness for even trying. He begs for mercy and a second chance, but the examiner ignores his pleas. The next phase of the trial is here. Second test. Candidate 1, Manduk. The examiner snaps an arrow in half, signaling a total and humiliating disqualification for the coward. Failure. One by one, the elite candidates crumble. They stand frozen, sweating buckets as the general's murderous aura suffocates the training grounds. As the arrows fly, they dive for cover. Another bald candidate loses his nerve and flees the field in total disgrace. The next victim is even worse, trembling like a leaf in a storm. Fear stains his face as he faces the general's bow. "I surrender. Don't shoot," he wails. Their pride is gone, replaced by desperate cries to escape this nightmare of a trial. The high-ranking generals watch in silence. They stare at the mountain of broken arrows and the pathetic display of these so-called warriors. Candidate 16 failed. The scarred general sighs. Is there not a single man left with the heart of a true tiger? This is General Li Sun-mong's brutal style. He raises his flask again, his eyes clouded by wine but sharp as a hawk's. "You miserable fools," he drunkenly mocks. "I hoped for lions, but all I see is a flock of trembling, brainless sheep. Do you lack faith in my divine aim?" His roar echoes. "Why do you flinch at such a trivial test of courage? Who is next?" Silence falls like a shroud. Every candidate shrinks back, terrified of becoming the next casualty of the drunk general. "I'll do it." 𝑑umak steps forward, his grip tightening on his bow. His eyes burn with the hidden fire of a legend. "Are you certain, 𝑑umak?" Guillen asks. The big man nods firmly. "Don't worry, brother. I've found a way to win." Li Sun-mong grins, liking the boy's spine. "Ho! I like that confidence. Take your position and show me your resolve." 𝑑umak's mind races. Every trial has a flaw. I've seen through this game. Victory belongs to those who control their fear. Fear is born in the eyes, he realizes. The sight of the arrow is what breaks the soul. I must change the variable. His muscles ripple with raw power. General Li won't miss. If I don't move, I won't die. It's that simple. In a bizarre twist, 𝑑umak turns his back. He holds the melon high behind him, shielding his eyes from the archer. "Proceed, General," he bellows. "If I cannot see the arrow, I cannot fear it. My back shall be my shield." Guillen is stunned, but impressed. "Brilliant. Look at those muscles flex." He's actually making this look cool in a weird way. Li Sun-mong chuckles at the special idiot. "Have it your way, boy. Let's see if your luck holds against my steel." Sweat beads on 𝑑umak's neck. Wait. There's a variable I didn't calculate. This silence. It's heavier than the general's gaze. Darkness is terrifying. He panics. Not seeing the shot is 100 times worse. He considers turning back, his heart hammering wildly. "Wait, let me change thwack." Too late. An arrow pierces the melon with godlike precision, freezing 𝑑umak to the spot. The crowd erupts in shock. He did it? That crazy fool actually stood his ground until the very last second. "What a madman," they shout. General Li Sun-mong lowers his bow, a dangerous spark of respect flickering in his drunken eyes. 𝑑umak passes. The scarred general approaches with a rare nod of approval. "Well done, kid. You have the nerves of a giant." 𝑑umak collapses, his legs turning to jelly. I almost met my ancestors, he thinks, his heart finally starting to beat again. One down, Lee Sun-mong roars, his gaze scanning the crowd like a predator. Who's next to dance with death? Step forward. His eyes lock onto Gi-yan. The ghost of the north. Is that you hiding in the shadows, little brat? The general approaches, his aura heavy with wine and bloodlust. Gi-yan just scratches his head and gives a playful, carefree smirk. I'm only here for my jade pendant, Gi-yan laughs. The crowd gasps. Did he say, the ghost? That legendary monster? Is he really the one who wiped out the northern bandits alone? The whispers turn into a storm of awe and disbelief. 𝒂𝒓 stares in total shock. The ghost of the north? I've heard those legends. And he was standing right beside me? The pieces of the puzzle fall into place. 𝒂𝒓 turns to the mountain fighter. Wait, so that jade story wasn't a lie. The scarred general leans in. General, he mentions the lost jade. But we have no physical evidence to verify his identity. Without proof, he must bleed like the rest. But if he is the ghost, this trial is about to get legendary. The examination is mandatory since there is no proof. If his hidden talent is real, this boy could be recruited instantly. Lee Sun-mong's casual response leaves the general stunned. Relax, why the long face? Sun-mong chuckles. The confused subordinate stammers as Sun-mong claps Gi-yi's shoulder. The boy lacks the jade, but these exams have a certain charm, don't they? Let's just settle this my way. Gi-yi bristles with annoyance. Suddenly, Sun-mong's eyes turn cold. Drop the arrow and fall back. Now, it's Gi-yi's turn to face the trial. He lifts the melon high above his head. The elder watches closely. Sun-mong's stance is rock solid, but favoritism could spark a riot. A crucial decision looms. Lee Sun-mong draws his bow, his killing intent beginning to swirl. Just relax, he thinks, pulling the string. But his hidden smirk suggests a deadly game. The bow screams under the tension. This is going to be fun, Sun-mong thinks darkly. He aims at the melon, then at Gi-yi's face, curious about the boy's hidden ghost eyes. He releases. The arrow whistles through the air. Show me your true power, boy. The nearby general flinches. He realizes Sun-mong isn't testing skill, he's testing leadership potential. Gi-yi's rival scowls, realizing this isn't a mistake. It's a deliberate, lethal provocation. The arrow streaks toward Gi-yi's head. Sensing the danger, he prepares to dodge the strike. If you move, you fail, the elder screams. Gi-yi freezes, trapped between life and duty. Sun-mong grins. A strand of hair flies as Gi-yi barely tilts his head aside. The arrow grazes his shoulder. He dodged. The crowd roars. He's failed the test. But then, Gi-yi's hand blurs. He snatches the flying arrow right out of the air. The courtyard falls silent. No one can believe he caught a high-speed projectile barehanded. His rival stands frozen in shock. Gi-yi calmly holds the arrow high for all to see. He stabs the melon with the arrow and smiles sheepishly. Did I pass the test? The other generals are speechless, their eyes wide at this impossible display of martial talent. Sun-mong bursts into laughter and grabs a wine flask from his guard, heading toward Gi-yi. Magnificent! You've passed with flying colors. Sun-mong shouts, handing the boy the wine flask. You didn't disappoint me. He takes a deep swig. Next. I'm starting to get bored. A strange new candidate steps forward. With wild silver hair, he looks like a mountain wolf. Barefoot and silent, the man lifts the melon. His aura is cold and completely unreadable. A drunken Sun-mong waves him off. Yeah. Let's get this over with already. A scarred general tries to intervene. My lord, you're too drunk. Let's continue tomorrow. Sun-mong's face is flushed red. You think a little wine can stop me? Don't insult me. Despite the warnings, Sun-mong staggers forward and draws his bow once again with shaky hands. It only takes a second to finish this. He mumbles stubbornly, ignoring his trembling fingers. He releases. The arrow veers wildly off course, heading straight for 𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒍's vital organs. Look out, a general screams. But 𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒍 stands still as the arrow pierces his stomach. Blood splatters as the crowd gasps in horror. Even Gi and the elder are stunned. Sun-mong stammers, oh dear. Then lets out a careless laugh. Well, that's that then. He approaches the wounded man. You all right? 𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒍 clutches his bleeding gut in sheer agony. Sun-mong kneels down. Stop whining. I missed your vitals. You won't die from this. Don't look so miserable. You didn't move, so you pass. It's the same result. Damn ye spits blood. Is human life just a joke to you corrupt leaders? You're all monsters. It all starts with that tyrant king. Sun Mong's face instantly darkens with murderous rage. He draws a subordinate sword. Insulting the country, the king, and now me? You're dead. The cold steel touches Damyi's throat. I'll cut out that treasonous tongue of yours right now. Close your eyes, Sun Mong snarls. But suddenly, a sword hilt slams into the general's face. Sun Mong hits the ground hard. A mysterious figure has stepped in to stop the madness. Looking down at the fallen Lai Sun Mong, a voice boomed. Is this the best the great Sun Mong can do? It was Choi Yun-deo, the peerless first sword of Joseon. He radiated a suffocating, murderous aura. I shall end your life right here. Tomorrow, you can beg the king for mercy in the afterlife. Choi Yun-deo sneered at the useless drunkard. Yet, there was a time when Lee Sun Mong stood like a mountain in the center of the training grounds. He was the elite son of a legendary war hero who served the king during the First Great Rebellion. As a youth, he rode his stallion with pure dominance. As the eldest son of a founding father, he was fast-tracked into the royal court. He was immediately commissioned as a high-ranking military official. He rose to a third-rank general of Joseon. Alongside the invincible Choi Yun-deok, he was hailed as a once-in-a-century genius with no equal. It did not take long for him to seize a legendary title for himself. He became known as the sovereign first sword of the Joseon era. He was a brilliant strategic titan who saved the nation multiple times. However, behind the legend lived a man with a shockingly vulgar and common soul. Images of him disheveled, holding a beauty in one arm and a wine cup in the other, were constant. Lai Sun Mong lived for wine and women. As he climbed higher in rank, his scandalous reputation grew darker. One night, while drowning in liquor, he began his usual drunken rants against the elders. That old man loves to act all high and mighty, he slurred. He was mocking Choi Yun-deok, the stern governor and Joseon's premier swordsman. Sitting across from him, the elder asked with freezing gravity, "Are you speaking of me?" Sun Mong just smirked, continuing his disrespectful mumbling. "Who else is here but you? That stiff posture and arrogant attitude. It makes me want to die of pure boredom." He stood up with a wine jar in hand as panicked ministers tried to drag him down. But the mad dog of the military shouted even louder. "Let's settle this fairly. Let's see who truly deserves the title of the first sword." The tension held as they continued drinking until the dawn. Choi Yun-deok's patience finally snapped as he ground his teeth. The king issued a direct ban on this. "You, brat." Yet Sun Mong ignored him. Utterly wasted, he teased the girls serving him while laughing. "Well, look who finally showed up, if it isn't the legendary great general Choi Yun-deok. Come, let me pour you a drink." Choi did not hesitate. He grabbed the wine jar and lunged at Sun Mong to teach him a lesson. The terrified women scrambled to intervene. This was just one of many scandals the wild Lai Sun Mong had ignited over the years. During the royal assembly, the tension reached a breaking point. An official stepped forward to address the throne with a grave expression. "Your Majesty, Lai Sun Mong must be stripped of his title and punished severely. This is the only way to maintain justice and order." He argued that Sun Mong only held his rank because of his father's bloodline. He called him a madman with the manners of a street thug. He must be disciplined for. Before he could finish, the king's voice cut through the room like a cold blade of authority. King Sejong's gaze was icy as he gave his final answer. "I will not punish Lai Sun Mong. Do not dare bring this matter up again." The court was stunned. Despite the chaos he caused, the wild dog remained untouchable. Ji Yang could not believe such a thing was real. Is this some kind of joke? How can he be shielded? Meanwhile, a scarred hand reached for a sword lying on the cold ground. They said it was because of his father's legacy. But as Lai Sun Mong struggled to his feet, a different truth began to emerge. Gripping his blade with trembling hands, he forced his battered body to rise. His eyes burned with a hidden and divine fighting spirit. "Don't you get it?" a voice echoed. "The real reason the king keeps him is because he is a monster of war we cannot lose." Suddenly, Choi Yun-deok appeared and barked a question. "What are you doing?" Two soldiers were desperately trying to hold Sun Mong up. "Take this boy to the royal physician immediately for treatment. Do it now." Once the soldiers left, Choi turned his gaze towards Sun Mong. Choi began to nag with a heavy sigh. "You finally went and did it, didn't you?" Sun Mong groaned in deep annoyance at the old man. "Here we go again with the lectures. Sun Mong spat. Choi drew his blade, his stance widening. The world says Josong cannot have two masters. Sun Mong slowly raised his own sword, his eyes sharpening into a blade. So, what is the verdict, General? Does the world need a change? Right here, right now. Let's decide who the true master of the blade is. An arrogant, lethal grin spread across his face. Because in my mind, I have already won, he added. Kim Jong watched in horror as Choi Yun-deok called out the boy's name. The atmosphere turned murderous as the elder's face darkened. Lai Sun Mong, do you truly wish for death in this very place? Without another word, the young tiger lunged forward like a demon. A panicked soldier cried out, "General, stop! You are far too drunk!" He ignored the warning entirely. His movements were a blur of chaotic precision as he closed the distance in a single heartbeat. "I am taking the first move," he roared, swinging his blade with bone-crushing force. Choi Yun-deok narrowly evaded the lethal arc. Finally, Choi unsheathed his own legendary steel with a cold metallic ring. "Fine then. I shall grant your death wish personally." A lightning-fast counter-strike whistled through the air. Instead of fear, Sun Mong let out a wild, ecstatic laugh. Yes, just like that. The veteran general unleashed a storm of relentless strikes. But the useless drunkard danced through the steel like a phantom. Waiting for the perfect opening, Sun Mong suddenly vanished from sight. He reappeared like a ghost, directly behind the legendary general. A sharp flash of silver followed. Blood sprayed as the blade bit deep into Choi's right arm. "You little brat!" the general roared. Like a feral beast, he swung his blade, mocking his elder. "Too slow," he roared, before aiming a lethal strike at the throat. The blow was absolute, leaving Yundi motionless on the cold ground. Yet, Lun Mong's bloodlust remained unquenched as he continued his brutal assault. He hacked away like a ravenous predator, laughter turning into a crazed howl. In his madness, he became a demon obsessed with destruction. "I am the first sword," he screamed in ecstasy, butchering the corpse while the real Yundi watched with eyes full of judgment. Drunk on arrogance, he slashed at a mere dummy, howling that his rival was finished. His delusions of grandeur had completely consumed him. "Sir, what are my orders?" Kim Jong asked. Yun-deok sighed heavily, watching the man lose himself to a mind warped by madness. "Why did we trust this fool with such power?" Yun-deok muttered. Meanwhile, Sun Mong continued his incoherent rant about his faded glory. Before he could finish, Yundi silenced him with a crushing kick. "Killing a man like you isn't even worth the effort," Yundi stated. "Throw this trash into the dungeon," he commanded. Even as he was dragged away, Lun Mong whimpered about being the greatest warrior. Kim Jang hesitated, asking about the remaining exam. The other candidates stood frozen, their hearts pounding with fear and heavy uncertainty. "The trial proceeds as planned," Yun-deok barked. As the scene shifted, the sun beat down on the next phase of their destiny. An arrow missed its mark, striking only the air. "Candidate number 17, you have failed." The supervisor's voice thundered across the field. "Why must we master the bow?" someone whispered. Kim Jeong stepped forward, explaining that archery is the true soul of a Joseon warrior. "Archery is not just a skill, it is the foundation of our military. It reveals the discipline and focus required of a true legend." Dumok frowned, remembering Sun Mong's cruelty. The man had once demanded melons as targets, just to satisfy his twisted, barbaric boredom. A savage game, Dumok thought with deep contempt. To that monster, training was nothing more than a plaything for his violent whims. "He is a beast," Gi Yang remarked. "Yet his strength is so overwhelming that he remains untouchable, despite his countless sins and atrocities. He caught a flying arrow with his bare hands?" Yun-deok gasped. The report of such a feat seemed like a myth, not reality. "It's true, sir." He evaded the general's strike and snatched death from the air. "I witnessed this impossible display with my own eyes." "The ghost of the north," Yun-deok whispered. "If the rumors were true, this boy possessed a talent that defied the heavens themselves. He carries the king's jade seal." "We must recruit him now," the subordinate urged, realizing the boy's potential was beyond any mortal scale. Gi Yang stood with a mountain-like presence, staring ahead. But Yun-deok raised a hand, stopping his men from approaching the young warrior. "Not yet," he ordered. The subordinate was stunned, unable to comprehend why they would let such a legendary talent walk away so easily. "The jade is the king's will, not mine. I want to see his true martial spirit with my own eyes before I decide." High noon arrived, and the atmosphere grew electric. Before the gathered masses, Yundi ascended the platform to announce the final, most brutal test. "From this moment, I am your judge," he thundered. "The path to the top will be paved with your own blood and resolve. The third trial is pure combat. Step forward, choose your rival, and prove that you have the soul of a true Joseon warrior. Winning is not your only goal," he warned. "I will judge the spirit you show in battle, not just the final blow you land. Even a victor will be rejected if they lack honor. Your technique and heart will determine if you are worthy of this rank. A loser may still pass if their courage is legendary. Now, choose your opponents. Let the true battle for supremacy begin right now." Gi Yang turned to 𝑑umok, his eyes calm but sharp. "Do you wish to test your strength against mine in this arena?" 𝑑umok hesitated, his mind racing with strategy. "If the gap between us is too vast, neither of us can truly show our skill. A duel between us would be disadvantageous," he analyzed. "To impress the judges, we need a balance of power, not an execution." "Or are you simply afraid I'll crush you again?" Gi Yang asked. The words hit 𝑑umok's pride like a heavy, sharpened steel blade. "Watch your mouth!" 𝑑umok shouted, his face turning red. "Allies shouldn't draw blood when there are so many other enemies to face." "What about me?" another warrior asked, flexing his powerful frame. 𝑑umok nodded, admiring the man's impressive and formidable physical strength. Warriors began pairing off, eyes clashing with hidden intent. A purple-clad fighter approached a man in green, seeking a worthy challenge for glory. Gi Yang approached another candidate, but the man recoiled in terror. "No, anyone but him," he stammered, backing away in visible fear. "It's the ghost. Only a fool would challenge that monster," the crowd whispered, as everyone avoided Gi Yang like he was death itself. Soon, every warrior had found a match. Only Gi Yang remained standing alone, an island of terrifying power that no one dared to cross. "Is there no one brave enough to face you?" Underdog asked. But before he could finish, a battered figure stepped into the light. "I will fight him," Dami roared. Covered in blood and bandages, he pushed past the worried doctor, his spirit blazing with defiance. "I challenge Gi Yang," he declared. Yundi looked at his horrific wounds and frowned. "In that state? You're barely standing, young man. You've already survived Liunmeng's cruelty. That is enough. Withdraw now and tend to your broken body while you still can. I'll grant you passage to the next round. Just rest," Yundi offered. But Dami's eyes stayed locked on Gi Yang, refusing to back down. To everyone's absolute shock, he stepped forward and demanded that Gi Yan face him in battle. Gi Yan whispered, asking what he was doing, suggesting they should just win quietly and listen. Enraged, 𝑑umok grabbed his collar and screamed his name before whispering a dark, haunting secret. He taunted him about his sister's death by bandits. Underdog finally intervened to stop them. Before the examiner could finish his sentence, Gi Yan interrupted, declaring his intent to fight him. He leaned in with a terrifying gaze, promising that even in death, the truth would remain hidden. The battle ignited. A white-clad warrior leaped high, delivering a devastating kick to his opponent's chest. Despite the blow, the blue-clad fighter stood firm while the white-clad attacker pressed his relentless assault. After weathering the storm, the blue-clad warrior finally caught his aggressive opponent's leg mid-air. He threw him with immense force, but the white-clad fighter landed gracefully with a single hand. He regained his balance with perfect poise, leaving the surrounding spectators in absolute awe and wonder. The crowd erupted in cheers as Gi Yan watched the two fighters with intense, calculating eyes. Suddenly, the blue-clad warrior moved like a lightning bolt, shocking everyone with his blinding speed. He descended upon his foe, unleashing a flurry of rapid-fire kicks that pushed the opponent back. Up close, the blue-clad fighter's handsome face glowed with confidence as he stared his rival down. Their eyes locked in a moment of intense focus before an official signaled for them to stop. Underdog demanded to know what they were doing. The white-clad fighter acted completely oblivious. When asked if they were acquainted, the blue-clad warrior admitted they were friends since childhood. Underdog snapped, calling them fools as his face darkened with pure, unadulterated frustration and anger. He roared, asking if they thought this was a joke or some choreographed martial arts performance. "This is a bloodbath," he screamed, his murderous gaze sweeping over every single nervous participant. Before his words faded, a massive punch exploded, striking before the opponent could even react. The white-clad youth was now brutally pummeling his best friend until he collapsed onto the dirt. Covered in blood and wounds, the blue-clad youth struggled to stand amidst the crimson-stained earth. As the attacker froze, 𝑦undeok barked, asking why he stopped when the fight wasn't over. He yelled that the opponent hadn't submitted yet, even as blood poured from the young man's face. Another thunderous fist was unleashed. It was a heaven-shaking blow aimed directly at the fallen fighter. Candidate number 4, Gong, was declared the winner. 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 watched, horrified by the sheer brutality. He noted that while it was for the sect, that aristocrats' behavior was far from normal. The official announced the next round while 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 watched the stage with a cold silence. As the next pair was called, 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 kept his eyes fixed firmly on 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍. While 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 scanned his surroundings, 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 suddenly called out his name with great urgency. Worried, he warned 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 not to kill his opponent. 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 merely gave a cold smirk. Finally, 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 and 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 stood face to face on the arena, their auras clashing intensely. The examiner asked 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 if he was sure, offering him one last chance to withdraw. Drenched in sweat, 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 refused, claiming he needed to face the shadow of the devil now. Seeing his resolve, the official ordered both fighters to take their positions for the coming duel. As the signal rang out, 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 took a deep breath, his body soaked with nervous perspiration. 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 lunged forward with a lethal head kick, but 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 narrowly evaded the lightning strike. Sensing a deep, hidden malice, 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 questioned if they shared some dark, forgotten past grudge. He claimed to have no memory of harming any Joseon citizen, but 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍's expression soured. "Of course you don't," 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 hissed, charging forward to seize 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍's leg in desperation. He screamed for 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 to ask his sister before successfully locking onto his opponent's leg. This sudden move caught 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 off guard, leaving him momentarily vulnerable to the incoming strike. 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 executed a desperate throwing technique as 𝒂undeok watched the technical display with interest. 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 seizes the momentum. He slams 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 into the dirt with overwhelming force. A barrage of heavy fists rains down. 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 unleashes a relentless assault on his face. The crowd roars as 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 is pinned. He seems trapped under the crushing pressure, but 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 remains unshaken. Suddenly, 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍's expression twists into pure, visceral terror. While guarding, 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍's fingers find the mark pressing deep into 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍's old abdominal wound. 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 recoils in agony. He screams, rolling across the arena floor. The tide turns as 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 launches his counterattack, returning every strike with interest. 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 struggles to stand, but 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍's aura has become something truly monstrous. Like a demon, he lunges. A devastating punch shatters 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍's midsection and his spirit. 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 is relentless. He strikes the injured area again and again with savage precision. One final blow connects with 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍's face, sending a spray of blood across the dirt. 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 realizes his weakness is exposed. Every opening is being exploited by 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍's fists. Is this the power of a hidden master? 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 buries another fist into his gut. 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 coughs up a fountain of blood. He is completely overwhelmed by 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍's strength. He's being pummeled like a mere training bag. General 𝒬undeok watches with a grim smile. 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍's body reaches its limit. He is on the absolute verge of total collapse. Yet, he stubbornly lunges for 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍's leg. He refuses to let the fight end here. He moves in for a tackle, but 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 is ready. A crushing knee meets him. The same technique won't work twice. That blow likely shattered 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍's very consciousness. Suddenly, the tables turn. 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 executes the exact same throw 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 used earlier. It is pure karma. 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 is slammed into the ground with bone-crushing force. His eyes roll back as blood sprays. The observers wonder, does 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 only know one move? 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 lies motionless in the dust. 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 simply turns and walks toward the general. "It is over," he declares coldly. "I will not continue this pointless battle." A soldier trembles at his intensity. But 𝒬undeok insists the trial is not finished. A roar echoes from behind. 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 charges like a wild beast, wielding a deadly spear. 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 narrowly dodges the strike. The general declares that all weapons are now permitted. "Is this the kind of selection you want, General?" 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 asks with visible disgust. He snatches a blade from a guard's hip, the steel singing as he draws it. With a cold, lethal gaze, he asks, "Is it truly all right if I kill him?" The atmosphere turns suffocating. Using a military spear against an opponent? This is madness. Both warriors are drenched in sweat and blood, locked in a final, deadly standoff. 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 raises his sword. "Then I will take that as permission to end your life." "Enough," A booming voice commands, freezing Gi-yan's blade in midair. It is the general. Weapons are allowed, but you must subdue him without killing. Gi-yan is stunned. A scarred soldier warns that stopping now is far too dangerous. The general silences him with a glare. This is for the secret guard selection. We need information. A sharp thud echoes. Gi-yan plunges his sword deep into the earth, ending the tension. The general questions his resolve. Are you giving up because the task is too difficult? No, Gi-yan replies firmly. That is not the reason I sheath my blade. I have not learned how to swing a sword without taking a life. I won't kill. The scene shifts to a nightmare. A fallen man lies beside a blood-stained spear. Flames consume the horizon as invaders slaughter the innocent without a shred of mercy. Father, please open your eyes. A young boy's voice cries out through the smoke. Little 𝒂𝒓 sobs, desperately trying to save his father as the invaders close in. It's over. If you don't run now, you're dead. The man finally woke, his eyes sealed shut. Run? To where? He wheezed. Every corner of this god-forsaken north is the same frozen hell. He chuckled hollowly, the spark of life long extinguished. Despair had swallowed his will to survive. Let's just end it here, 𝒂𝒓. Let's die together. Terrified, the young boy wailed for his father. With hollow eyes, the man whispered, There's no escape, 𝒂𝒓. Suddenly, he began coughing up dark blood. His eyes rolled back as he breathed his last. A crimson pool formed beneath his broken, blood-stained body. 𝒂𝒓 knelt in the dirt, mourning. Two barbarian warriors approached, their blades glinting with cruel, lethal intent. The rear guard gestured toward the boy. Look, we missed a little rat over there, he called out. What fool let him slip? We've already rounded up the other brats to serve as lowly slaves. A soldier loomed over 𝒂𝒓. You're coming with us, kid. He looped a heavy rope around his neck. Dragged like a stray dog, 𝒂𝒓 kept his head low, his heart burning with a silent, murderous rage. These monsters took everything, his parents, his home, his soul. The nightmare he feared had finally become reality. Now a mere slave. He glanced at another child being led away, sharing his wretched and cursed fate. A sudden, heavy thud echoed behind him. 𝒂𝒓 turned to see a sight that left him utterly breathless. The barbarian guard had collapsed. The other child had vanished. The lead captor froze in total confusion. Seeing his comrade motionless, the soldier grew wary. He shoved 𝒂𝒓 aside to investigate the fallen man. Hey, what are you doing? Get up, he barked. But only an eerie, chilling silence met his shouting. As he knelt closer, blood began pouring from the man's mouth. Fear finally took hold of the soldier. What in the world? Before he could finish, a blade tore through his throat with terrifying, godlike precision. The strike was fast, lethal, and absolute. Death claimed him before he could even register his killer's presence. The other boy stood there, splattered in blood. His gaze was cold, devoid of any childish warmth or mercy. 𝒂𝒓 gaped in shock. Was this real? He recalled the blurred, impossible speed of that incredible strike. Gi-yan had pounced like a predator, silencing the guard while plunging steel directly into his jugular vein. Blood sprayed as the blade was withdrawn. Gi-yan's icy eyes fixed on 𝒂𝒓 as the corpse hit the dirt. Placing a finger to his lips, he signaled for silence. Two children stood amidst the fallen barbarian giants. Thank you. Who are you? 𝒂𝒓 stammered. But Gi-yan cut him off with a chilling, focused calm. They don't expect a threat from kids, Gi-yan muttered. 𝒂𝒓 stared, unable to grasp the boy's words. These scum are careless. Isolate them, and even a child can deliver a fatal, soul-ending blow, he explained. Handing over a blade, he warned, Don't die here. Even if it's just one, you must kill them. If you want to live, kill. 𝒂𝒓 gripped the handle, whispering the word survive like a sacred prayer. Suddenly, Gi-yan turned to thin air. Are you here? Did you kill them all? I'm fine, brother. 𝒂𝒓 watched in confusion as Gi-yan spoke to a ghost. Was the trauma finally shattering his young mind? Believe me, 𝒂𝒓. I'm doing this for you, he continued, responding to a voice only he could hear. Terror gripped 𝒂𝒓. Gi-yan's voice turned murderous. I won't stop until every last barbarian is wiped out. Suddenly, a massive shadow loomed. A giant barbarian general grabbed Gi-yan's throat with a crushing iron grip. Lifted high, Gi-yan gasped for air. The giant snarled, his face twisted in a mask of demonic rage. You little rats did this, he roared. Whatever tricks you used, Your miserable lives end here and now. Gion turned purple as he suffocated. Dam Yi froze, witnessing a sight of pure, unadulterated terror before him. The image of his fallen father flashed. The giant sneered. All of you Joseon dogs deserve to die. Kill him, Gion wheezed. His face darkened as he desperately commanded Dam Yi to take the shot. At the second shout, Dam Yi snapped. He grabbed a discarded spear and charged with a primal, desperate scream. Tears streamed as the sharp tip lunged forward. Suddenly, the scene shifts, showing the passage of many years. Now grown men, the two clash in a fierce duel. Spear against fist, their legendary power shakes the earth. The spearhead grazed Gion's cheek. He broke into a cold sweat, realizing the martial god Dam Yi had become. Dodging the lethal strike, Gion regained his footing. He looked at his brother in arms with newfound, lethal respect. They said no killing, but that aura is pure murder. Dam Yi spat, blood dripping from his nose. Fight me for real. If I must survive this hellish world, then give me everything you have. Gi Hyang's gaze turned cold and serious. With a blur of motion, he snatched the incoming spear. In a flash, he spun behind the boy. The spear was now locked firmly against Dam Yi's throat. It ends now, he whispered, his eyes sharp as a blade. He tightened his lethal grip. Dam Yi let out a primal, savage scream. The spectators watched in stunned silence at the brutality. A shadow stepped forward. Is this really you? Dam Yi gasped, his face turning purple from pressure. Even if it is just one, kill them. Dam Yi froze. Survival? At any cost? Neither warrior would back down in this lethal stalemate. I will take you down with me. Why are you laughing now? Gi Hyang asked. Dam Yi smirked. You are one confusing bastard. Gi Hyang is the victor, the general boomed. Next up, Yi No versus 𝒂𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒍. Two titans stepped onto the stage, muscles rippling. Yi No took a deep, heavy breath and braced. Let us clash with pure strength, he roared, charging forward with a massive crushing fist. Silence fell as the general spoke. Behold the list of those who passed the third trial. Names were called one by one. The air grew thick with a mix of joy and despair. Gi Hyang and 𝒂𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒍. Both men nodded, their places secured among the elite few. And finally, Dam Yi. The crowd gasped in shock. Even the boy could not believe his ears. The rest of you are dismissed, the general barked. But for the survivors, listen carefully. You have already felt the darkness. This is no ordinary military recruitment for the king. This trial is for something far more dangerous, something hidden in the shadows of the palace. You are the king's secret blades, the elite shadow guards of the throne. In a small village, whispers began to spread. Shadow guards? What kind of mission is that? A man with a scarred nose raised his drink. It is not just scouting, it is much darker. They are sent to infiltrate the barbarian dens. It is a one-way trip to the afterlife. Another veteran with a scarred cheek spoke up. These trials were strange from the very beginning, gathering warriors from the north. I knew this was never about finding simple city guards. But is it not too dangerous? A man asked. Entering Jurchen territory is a death sentence. Will anyone even return alive? The goddess of death awaits them in those frozen lands. That is why the reward is so high. A lifetime of gold and royal favor awaits. 5 years as a shadow guard means a life of freedom. No more taxes or war. Freedom only matters if you are alive, the scarred man shouted. Dead men cannot spend gold. The group nodded solemnly. It was a gamble where the stakes were their very souls. What is the verdict? General Choi gave us a choice. Fight as a guard or flee. Every mission is a coin toss with death. Are you truly ready to bet your lives? I will do it, a voice thundered. 𝒂𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒍 slammed his cup down, fire in his eyes. You lot talk too much, he growled. You seem to be confused about our reality. Do you think peace lasts forever? Wake up. This world is a cruel and changing place. You think your noble status will save you? This kingdom does not care about your bloodline. If I want to live like a real man in this land, I must take this chance. The tavern fell silent as his words cut deep. This was their only path to greatness. Do you think an opportunity like this comes twice? Only cowards sit and wait for death. Everyone fears death, he confessed. But I fear living like trash even more than dying. He drained the cup in one go. I would rather die a legend than live a nobody. Count me in, he roared, before suddenly collapsing face first onto the wooden table in a stupor. Snoring and drooling, The warrior was out cold. The others could only watch in total disbelief. Wait, did he really just pass out after one single cup? The man with the mole smirks. Raising his glass to toast Gi Yang's fame, he asks, "And what about you?" Before another word can escape, Gi Yang's head slams onto the table. A total knockout. The crowd is speechless. Both of them. One-shot wonders. Someone sighs in total disbelief. Kind-hearted Dam Yi covers him with a coat. The scarred man calmly sips his wine. "Well, thanks to their antics, everyone has finally found their resolve," he confirms grimly. "Are we all in?" He looks around. Everyone nods. Suddenly, a thunderous crash erupts. Ambush! The Manji barbarians storm in, blades held tight against the hostages' throats. Panic fills the room. "Stay put if you value your lives," the leader roars. A scout warns they are behind schedule. "The Joseon guards are coming. We must move." The leader snorts. "Forget that. A man cannot fight on an empty stomach." He demands a feast. "Stay quiet, and you live. Do not try anything stupid." He barks orders at the innocent villagers. "Bring out the food. Right now." One barbarian grumbles. Is he insane? Eating while on a mission? The guards are closing in. What is he thinking? The air is thick with tension. The mole-faced man trembles. Even for the North, this is pure madness. One mistake and lives are lost. The brown-haired man whispers, eyes darting in fear. The sharp-eyed one warns, "Wait. Don't be reckless. We need to observe their moves first. If we act blindly, we might provoke a massacre." Caution is their only shield now. Suddenly, 𝑮𝒐𝒅 rouses from his stupor. He grins, drooling like a complete fool. "It is so obvious," he mumbles, staggering toward the dangerous, armed invaders. A barbarian glares. 𝑮𝒐𝒅 flashes a chilling, drunken smile that freezes the blood. "The name is 𝑑uMOC." The barbarian roars, "Stay back. Are you deaf or stupid?" Crack. 𝑑uMOC delivers a brutal kick. "I told you to listen to me. Remember this name. I love Joseon more than anyone." His roar echoes through the inn. "Are you suicidal?" the others cry out. "You are going to get us all killed." 𝑑uMOC whispers back, "Don't be scared. Look closely. These guys are total fakes." Fakes? The group is stunned. 𝑑uMOC scolds their complete lack of martial insight. Think. Real barbarians would never dare stroll into an inn like this so openly. Drool still dripping, he declares this is just a secret government recruitment exam. The barbarian's eyes flare with primal rage. He draws his weapon, ready to kill. "You have a death wish, old man." He lunges forward with lethal, bloody intent. 𝑑uMOC dodges with impossible, fluid grace, laughing like a man possessed. He throws a heavy punch. "Too slow. Is that all the test has to offer? Join me. Let's crush these thugs. If not us, then who will stand?" Inspired. The recruits charge. "I am Jang Tron. Face my wrath. I am Chi-guk, protector of Joseon. You will remember my name today." Fists fly as a chaotic battle erupts. But the scarred man feels a sudden dread. "This does not feel like a test," he mutters, sensing a dark, murderous aura. A barbarian draws steel, his patience snapped. "No more games with you, worms. I warned you to stay quiet. Now, everyone here pays the ultimate price." He lunges at the innkeeper. She stares at the blade, paralyzed by sheer terror. "Die for your country." Blood sprays everywhere. But it is not the woman's. Gi Yang has arrived. A simple branch pierces the barbarian's chest from behind. "Long time no see." The barbarian gasps. The hidden legend has finally awakened. Before the ghost shadow could even react, he lunged forward, tree trunk in hand, striking with overwhelming force. The blow smashed into the wicked barbarian's face. 𝑑uMOC cried out in shock. "Don't kill him! This is a test!" The others trembled, whispering his name, the ghost shadow. He turned back with a hollow gaze. "Why stop? They're enemies." "Kill him!" another barbarian roared, charging with his blade held high. But he was walking into his own grave. With one swift, effortless motion, Gi Yan claimed the man's head. Another warrior rushed in, fueled by desperate rage. "I'll kill you!" the barbarian screamed, his voice and sword both shaking. He swung his blade with all his might. Steel sang against steel as their weapons collided at blinding speeds. The air itself seemed to ripple from the impact. Cracks spider-webbed across the barbarian's blade before it shattered. In an instant, Gi-yan ended the man's life. The spectators stood frozen in disbelief. Is that really him? They whispered, unable to comprehend the slaughter. Was this the same humble boy who sat with them? Gi-yan had become a demon. The remaining foe fled in terror, but Gi-yan was already behind him like a vengeful ghost. His blade swept toward the man's throat with lethal intent. Suddenly, a powerful kick interrupted his strike. The lead examiner intervened, slamming into Gi-yan with immense force. "You reckless fool," he barked. "I thought you were going to ruin the entire operation." He glared at the young martialist. Gi-yan stared back with eyes like cold stone. Suddenly, a voice filled with pure venom echoed through the clearing. "Your arrogance nearly destroyed everything." 𝑦u stepped forward, his face twisted in a mask of absolute rage. 𝑑umok tried to explain the situation, pointing toward the fleeing enemies, but his words fell on deaf ears. "Wait, the examiner needs to." But 𝑦u cut him off, his patience snapping like a dry twig in winter. He ground his teeth, glaring at the captured man. These barbarian scum deserve to be beaten to death right here. 𝑑umok was stunned by the brutality. Even Gi-yan looked up, confused by the sudden shift in the atmosphere. "What are you doing?" Gi-yan asked, his voice trembling. "Why are you acting like this without a single word, without a shred of mercy?" 𝑦u crushed the man's head into the dirt. "Shut your mouth," he snapped coldly. "A group of raiders has been terrorizing these villages," 𝑦u explained, his eyes burning with a dark intensity. "They are elusive ghosts, changing dens constantly." The others were paralyzed by the news, save for the stoic Gi-yan. Unbeknownst to them, the leader slipped away into the shadows. He crawled through the brush while they were distracted. "The local authorities are useless," 𝑦u spat. "Every time we close in, these rats manage to vanish into thin air." 𝑦u's expression turned deathly serious. "We have been hunting this specific pack of wolves for several months now. To eliminate them all, we needed to capture the scouts alive. They were our only map to their hidden lair." Gi-yan slowly stood up, regaining his strength as 𝑦u's voice continued to thunder across the forest floor. "But you just wanted to slaughter them all. Our months of preparation were almost ruined by your bloodlust." Undeterred, Gi-yan stood his ground. He faced the elite warrior directly, refusing to back down from the criticism. "They were threatening our people right in front of me. Is it a crime to strike down a monster?" His face remained an unreadable mask of stone. He stared into 𝑦u's eyes without a hint of fear. 𝑦u's temper flared to a breaking point. He leaned in close, his voice dripping with absolute condescension. "Your passion is nothing special, kid. It's just a cheap circus trick that's only good for a single use." The insults continued to pour from his mouth. He sneered at the boy, demeaning his every achievement and instinct. "Do you think you're a hero because people whisper your name? You're nothing." Gi-yan's eyes flared with hidden power. "I don't understand why you're blaming me for this." Suddenly, a panicked shout interrupted their heated confrontation. It was 𝑑umok. His face was pale with terror as he pointed frantically toward the edge of the forest. "Stop fighting. He's escaping. If we don't catch that man now, all our efforts will be for nothing." They snapped out of their argument just in time to see the bald man vanishing into the thick woods. "Curse it all!" 𝑦u roared, lunging forward with a fury that promised only death for his prey. But Gi-yan was already a blur of motion. Moving with godlike speed, he closed the gap in a heartbeat. Suddenly, a flash of steel cut the air. Gi-yan sliced an incoming arrow clean in half with ease. The arrow fell to the ground, useless. The hidden archer froze, his eyes wide with absolute, soul-crushing terror. "Run for your lives!" the archer screamed. The two barbarians fled into the dark, pursued by a literal god. 𝑦u's face contorts in pure rage. "You fools! How could you let a single rat escape? What were you doing?" he snarls. Cut to the aftermath, a ruined inn dripping in blood. 3 mangled corpses lay twisted on the floor beneath the cold, silent moonlight. Chor-yun-deok arrives, eyes blazing with fury. The air turns heavy with his killing intent. "Two got away?" he growls. 𝑦u bows, sweating. "My lord, it was my negligence." "Gui-young." The commander's voice cuts like a blade. He turns, shadows masking his face. "You lost control again, didn't you?" A suffocating silence suddenly descends upon the room. 𝑑umok breaks the silence, his voice trembling. "It's true. Gui-young went absolutely berserk." Dam-yi steps forward, her eyes defiant. What choice did he have? Should he just watch? Her heart beats in sync with his. They were threatening 𝑮𝒂𝒓𝒕𝒊𝒂𝒍. We couldn't just stand by. Know your place, girl, Yu-young bellows. But Gui-young finally breaks his silence. He begins. But Choi interrupts. Well done, he says, shocking everyone. The damage is done. I won't blame you. The elite stand frozen in disbelief. The fault lies with the guards who let them flee first. Choi's gaze lingers on him. Protecting the people is a noble act for any Joseon man. But his tone shifts. However, as a secret shadow, you have failed. A chilling warning hangs in the air. Yu-young listens intently. This was the flaw they feared, the raw power of a monster. A shadow is an observer, not just a killer. There are no exceptions in our world. Choi's voice echoes in the dark night. He stares directly into the boy's soul. Tell me, can you suppress your emotions when facing the Jurchen? The question hits hard. Before Gui-young can answer, Yu-young scoffs. Look at him. He sees them and goes mad. Gui-young cuts him off with a gaze of ice. Which path? He asks, voice hollow. Which path lets me slaughter the most? He shows no fear, only a thirst for blood. What did you say? Yu-young stammers. Gui-young's resolve is absolute and terrifying. Soldier or shadow, which one lets me kill more of those bastards? I'm asking you. The room falls into a deathly silence. His words carry the weight of a martial god. Yu-dong grits his teeth, fuming at the boy's arrogance. Who does this peasant think he is? Suddenly, a voice speaks from the gloom. If you truly want to know the difference. Kim Jong steps forward. A secret shadow kills far more manj. Infinitely more than a soldier. Yu-dong is speechless as Kim Jong nods. The path of the shadow is paved in blood. Choi Yun-deok agrees, his voice cold. That is the very reason we were created. Gui-young's eyes ignite with purpose. I'll do it. As long as I can kill them all. Dam-yi smiles, mesmerized by his resolve. The humble country boy has finally awakened. But Yu-young's jealousy boils over. He grabs Gui-young's collar, face twisted in a sneer. Don't get cocky, brat. Who gave you permission? The tension reaches a breaking point. Choi intervenes. Enough. 9 trainees will split into 3 teams. Here is the plan. Each group will have a senior leader. Hunt down the escaped scouts immediately. But listen well, he warns sternly. Do not kill them. We need them alive. They are the key to the enemy's location. Your 4th test begins right now. The trainees vanish into the dark, eerie forest as night swallows the trees. Dumok's face appears, twisted in annoyance. Damn it. Why did it have to be like this? He looks at his teammates and sighs. The awkwardness is enough to kill a man. He's stuck with Gui-young, Dam-yi, and him. It's a recipe for a total disaster. Man, it's getting chilly out here, right? He tries to laugh, but his voice falls flat. No one answers. Only the wind remains. The hunt has officially begun. Standing frozen like a cornered animal, Dumok's humiliation burned until he nearly bit his own flesh. Someone save me, he screamed internally, while Dam-yi's gaze shifted forward toward the enigmatic examiner. High Priest Yu-jong, what should I call you? The man gave a chilling, indifferent glance. Call me team leader, he replied coldly. Dam-yi hesitated, then dared to ask a risky question. Team leader. Why are you so incredibly hostile toward Gi-yan? Dumok's heart skipped a beat at the disrespect, yet he couldn't help but wonder the same thing. Ridiculous, Yu-jong scoffed. Didn't you try to kill him yourself during the 3rd trial? Now you act like his sworn brother? You're nothing more than a common bodyguard to him. His voice dripped with pure sarcasm, but Dam-yi remained unfazed. I simply cleared up a misunderstanding. I thought he was an imposter, but he is truly Gi-yan. Yu-jong's silence became heavy and suffocating. What are you talking about? Yu-jong's sudden quietness felt like the calm before a storm. You still haven't answered me. Seeing the tension rise, Dumok lunged forward to silence Dam-yi. Haha, let's just focus on hunting those savages. Dumok forced a laugh, desperately changing the subject. Yu-jong brushed past, his voice a sharp blade. Remember, if I see another pathetic inside performance, the threat was unmistakable. I will cut you down without a moment's hesitation. Gi-yan let out a weary sigh. Understood, he muttered as the group suddenly dropped low. Something was lurking ahead. They crept through the shadows, their eyes fixed on the distance. 2 barbarians stood in wait. Are those the same ones? Dumok whispered, his voice trembling with fear. Their nest must be nearby, Yu-jong observed. We must move with absolute stealth and caution. But Giyan wasn't listening. A primal, volcanic rage was erupting within his soul. Yuzhong noticed the shift. Giyan's face was a mask of pure, unadulterated hatred. His eyes ignited like twin suns, ready to incinerate the enemy. Vengeance had finally found its mark. Memories of a bloody past surfaced. He saw himself as a child, hiding like a rat beneath the floorboards. That savage monster was there. Tears of fury blurred his vision as the trauma resurfaced. "I will kill them all," he vowed. The man before him was the demon from his nightmares. He remembered every horrific detail. The heartless command, to leave no survivors, echoed in his mind. "Fire the arrows." The phantom screams of the past shattered Giyan's remaining restraint. In the present, a silent scream tore from his throat. The time for hiding was over. Drawing his blade with lethal intent, he exploded from the brush, shocking even the elite Yuzhong. 𝒂𝒓 smirked in dark satisfaction. The monster was finally breaking its chains. The barbarians turned, sensing death, only to see a shadow descending upon them with fury. With a blade sharp enough to sever fate itself, Giyan's voice turned into a sub-zero chill. 5 years. Do you still remember me, you filthy animal? Elsewhere in the dark forest, another group moved in formation. Their leader signaled for total silence. "Watch your step, rookie," he hissed at the dark-haired youth. "The enemy will hear you from miles away." "My apologies," the boy replied, grinding his teeth in frustration. This wasn't the time for mistakes. "Curse it! I can't afford to lose points over such trivial matters." Suddenly, the leader's hand shot up. The signal was clear. "Take cover. Enemy in sight." A lone barbarian scout wandered into view. The team pressed themselves against the ancient trees. "It's one of the escapees," the leader whispered, calculating their next lethal move. "Wait for my command." But as he turned back, his eyes widened in shock. The formation was broken. Only 2 members remained. One had vanished into the shadows. "Where is he?" Before the question finished, a blur of speed ignited the forest floor. It was the dark-haired boy. Moving like a phantom gale, he clutched his rope tightly. "This is my moment." He wouldn't let this chance for glory slip through his fingers. Pushing his limits to seize the opening, our protagonist propels himself upward like a soaring dragon. His mind races, with one goal: capture the target. He vanishes, reappearing behind the man-die like a ghost. But fate is cruel. Before he can graze a single hair, he falls straight into a preset snare. The commander and his squad arrive, their eyes widening. One look tells them this is a tactical death trap. As the boy lunges at the bald savage, another figure, Yuzhong, trembles with a localized storm of fury. Teeth gnashing, eyes ablaze, he hisses a curse. It's him. Suddenly, the enemy senses a presence behind. Time freezes for a heartbeat. Giyang's eyes erupt in rage as he bellows a challenge long overdue. 5 long years of waiting. Do you remember me? He swings his blade with lethal, vengeful intent. Suddenly, his instincts scream. A lethal bolt, sharp as a needle, streaks toward him at godlike speeds. The arrogant man-D sneers as Giyang hits the dirt. "You actually dodged that? Impressive for a brat." 𝒂𝒓 senses the closing net and shouts a desperate warning. Ambushes are springing up everywhere. Cornered with no escape, he turns to Dam Yi. "There's no choice left. We charge through or die." They sprint with everything they've got, but a hail of arrows rains down, hungry for their lives. Just as death nears, Yuzhong flickers into view, a blur of steel parrying the lethal rain to save them. "We've walked right into their jaws," he warns. 𝒂𝒓 shudders, the weight of their despair sinking in. "A trap?" he stammers. The man-die hunters watch from the shadows, mocking their prey's futile struggle. Suddenly, the earth itself seems to tremble. Giyang stands frozen, his expression a mask of cold stone. He grips his sword, the blade biting into the earth, and slowly raises his gaze to the heavens. His voice drops to a lethal growl. "I asked you, do you remember who the hell I am?" The Mandi leader scoffs, his ego towering. "Who are you to think you're worth my memory?" Giyang recounts the nightmare. 5 years ago, my village burned. You slaughtered my family." The savage just laughs, turning to his men. 5 years ago? Did we even visit Joseon back then? Giyang's sanity snaps. But Yuzhong moves first, a lightning strike of steel clashing against the enemy. He leaps with explosive power, delivering a bone-crushing kick to the skull of a lurking reinforcement. "I'll carve a path. Follow me," Yuzhong roars. but Gi Yang is still paralyzed by his inner demons. Gi Yang! Snap out of it! Yuang's shout pierces through the trauma, forcing him back to reality. There's no time for ghosts. Yuang's voice is like cold iron, grounding his comrade in the bloody present. I don't care how deep your grudge is. If you want to drag everyone to hell, then keep standing there. The Mandai leader fumes, barking orders to finish them. But a sudden shockwave interrupts his command. A thunderous impact. 𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒍 has arrived, his heavy strike sending sweat and blood flying into the air. Now it's Dam Yi's turn to shine. Without a shred of mercy, she delivers a lethal blow to the head. Seconds later, 𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒍's massive hand grabs Gi Yang, dragging him away from the brink of madness. Reeling from the sudden counterattack, the Mandi can only clutch their broken faces in agony. Retreat! The four warriors push their bodies to the absolute limit, desperate to reach the tree line. But the path is blocked. Damn it, Yuang curses. The nightmare isn't over, it's only getting started. A sea of Mandi savages surrounds them, weapons glinting. We're boxed in. There's nowhere left to run. A lead hunter draws his bow, the arrowhead glinting with murderous intent. This ends here, he sneers. He looks at the four exhausted warriors. You're just shadows of the dead. This is the price of blood. For every one of my brothers you killed, I'll take your lives slowly. You're already dead men walking. But as the villain gloats, reality strikes back with a vengeance. A projectile slams into his arrogant face. It happens in a flash, something hits him with the speed of a falling star, leaving Yuang utterly stunned. A stone? Yes. A simple pebble has struck the Mandi leader like a divine judgment from heaven. What? The savages scream in confusion as a literal rain of stones begins to devastate their ranks. Look over there! A voice cries out in terror. Everyone turns to see the source of this power. Standing behind the chaos is Chang Rong. The humble country boy casually tosses another pebble, his true power awakening. Screams erupt as a barbarian's skull is crushed by a sudden, brutal projectile. A jagged stone mangles his face. The frenzied leader bellows. Slaughter them all. Yudong freezes in the chaos. Two factions? Suddenly, Captain Kim Jang emerges. You! This way! Kim's roar snaps him back from the brink of death. Behind him, 𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒍 signals the escape. The path is open. Move now, he shouts at the dazed Gi Yang. Seeing him paralyzed, 𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒍 acts. He hoists the boy up. Focus, idiot. Survive first, cry about it later. They sprint into the dark forest, hearts pounding as death stalks their heels. The three-braid barbarian leader howls in fury. Kill them, let no one escape. The chase is on. Deep in the woods, the group finally finds breath. Yudong catches up to Kim Jang. Captain, how did you find us? Kim glances back coldly. We've been shadowing your tracks from the very start. Yudong is stunned. Kim explains the grim intel on the barbarian invasion. A scout requested reinforcements. We tracked your unit to prevent a massacre. Kim admits his unease. Your team was too large. A perfect, easy target. Yudong counters. But shouldn't Captain Jingong's first unit have priority? Kim scoffs at the question. You really don't know his terrifying reputation? A battlefield appears, soaked in crimson. Nature itself wilts under the slaughter. Two warriors gasp for air. Kim's voice drops to a dark whisper. Yaksha. Jingong's face emerges from the smoke. A man who breathes pure war. He is the Yaksha, Kim says. Worrying for him is a total joke. A vision follows. Jingong standing triumphantly atop a mountain of rotting corpses. The first secret guard captain. A monster who devours his enemies whole. Jingong's icy gaze locks onto the enemy. His killing intent freezes time. He draws his blade like lightning, charging the barbarian chief with demonic speed. Suddenly, the memory shifts. Kim Jiang strikes Gi Yang with a heavy blow. A brutal fist sends him sprawling. You reckless fool, Kim growls in rage. You gambled your team's lives on a blind grudge without thinking twice. The others watch in silence as Gi Yang trembles in the cold dirt. Your revenge was for nothing, Kim adds, leaving the boy utterly shattered. The man you attacked is Li Ha-chu. He arrived only 1 year ago. He wasn't there 5 years ago. He wasn't even in Joseon back then. Gi Yang screams in denial. Impossible. I remember that murderer's face clearly. It's Li Nam-du you want. His cousin. The Jurchen great leader. Gi Yang stands paralyzed. The two faces are identical, like cursed blood twins. They are doubles. Hachu merely mimics Namdu's terrifying, legendary presence. Then, Gi Haiyang stammers, but Yudong interrupts the breakdown. Captain, the Jurchen force is massive. Jin Gong needs reinforcements right now. Kim laughs at the concern. I told you, Jin Gong is a monster. He has overwhelming power. He has surely broken through their lines already. His combat experience is legendary. Even General Choi Yundi honors his strength. Trust the Yaksha, Kim reassures. His martial arts transcend all human limits. Jin Gong's savage grin flashes, but the reality is far more gruesome. A man like him doesn't die easily, Kim says. Yet the scene shifts. Li Ha-chu stands tall, holding Jin Gong's severed head. The legend falls. The fallen warrior lay motionless on the cold ground. Captain Jin Gong. Liun couldn't believe his eyes. Is this nightmare real? As the shock set in, Yudong struggled to breathe through his wounds. He was a bloody mess. Yurong gasped out the truth. Their scouts were ambushed in the shadows. But Captain Jin Gong fought alone. He slaughtered dozens of those barbarians like a legendary god of war. How did it end like this? Yurong's eyes filled with sorrow as he recalled the terrifying encounter. A monster appeared from the dark. Captain Jin Gong fought like a wild demon from the deepest underworld, but a lethal blade swept through the air. Even Jin Gong was frozen by that overwhelming, soul-crushing sword intent. In a flash, his arm was severed. He's a monster. Yurong screamed before coughing up a pool of blood. The healer moved with urgency. General Choi Yun-deok leaned in, demanding to know the identity of the enemy. Yurong's strength was fading fast. I don't know his name, but his next words chilled everyone's blood. He was massive, with 3 braids. With those final words, Yurong closed his eyes and passed away. The healer confirmed the tragedy. Choi Yun-deok realized the truth. It was definitely times him asterisk, the legendary devil. He gripped the fallen soldier's hand tightly. Kim Jang watched, sensing a heavy, murderous tension in the air. Then, the general whispered a name. Li Nam-ju. The hunt for the devil begins tonight. Orders were issued with icy resolve. A massive Jurchen force has invaded Joseon soil. We must strike back now. Their hidden base is close. They've tasted our blood, and now they will feel the weight of our steel. Darkness swallowed the ancient mountains. Choi Yun-deok ordered every soldier to mobilize before the first light. We find them tonight. Do not let them cross the river or escape our righteous fury. No mercy. No prisoners. Kill them all, and bring me Li Namju's head on a silver platter. But General, they are masters of ambush. Kim Jiang's warning was instantly cut short by a cold glare. We must find him at all costs. Choi Yun-deok's face twisted with a rage that shook the very ground. Decapitate that bastard Li Namju. Looking at the corpses, the general had absolutely nothing left to lose. We are already dancing with death. Kim Jiang fell silent, accepting the grim reality of their suicidal mission. He turned to the remaining warriors. Listen up. Our destiny depends on what we do in the next few hours. Locate their base within 1 hour. The survival of our nation rests entirely on your shoulders today. Kim Jiang reorganized the elite squads. Gi, you're out of this mission. Stay back, no arguments. Gi's pride was deeply stung. We move with 7 men. The final, bloody battle begins right now. Wait, Choi Yi protested. There is a secret task for the shadow guards at the enemy hideout. Meanwhile, at the enemy camp, Li Ha-ju was screaming in a fit of uncontrollable, blazing rage. How did one man escape you all? My entire vanguard was wiped out by a single warrior? Pathetic. Ahop trembled as he answered. He wasn't human. He was a night yaksha sent from hell. He fought dozens alone and won. Ha-ju roared, refusing to believe such a monster could actually exist. You useless, brainless fools. Suddenly, a chilling voice echoed from deep within the commander's tent. So you've finally returned? Li Namju, the great leader, stepped out with a cold, piercing gaze. Still cursing like a peasant, brother? Ha-ju froze. Brother, why are you here in this place? I was curious about your failure. Namju's voice was like ice, cutting through the thick, humid air. Was it worth leaving my shadow for this? Ha-ju couldn't even find his voice to reply. It sounds like things went wrong. Ha-ju quickly tried to hide his shame from his brother. Everything is under control. But the warriors we met today, they were truly bizarre and powerful. Bizarre? Namju smirked. 𝒂𝒓 added, there was a monster among them, a true night yaksha. Namju didn't seem surprised at all. He slowly reached for a sack and tossed it forward. It was Jingong's severed head. The men recoiled in absolute terror at the gruesome sight. Put this where everyone can see. Their spirits will shatter when they see their hero has fallen. Haju was completely speechless. Brother, how? Namju remained calm, his eyes reflecting a dark destiny. They are Joseon's elite special unit. If they find us, this entire forest will burn before dawn. Retreat, lead the warriors across the river back to our tribe, Namju commanded, leaving his younger brother frozen in shock. We cannot leave. My goal is Lu Duyen, Haju protested. But Namju merely scoffed at his sibling's naive desperation. Lu Duyen was just a pawn for the future. We can take it any time. Right now, the tides are turning against us. The Joseon forces move like shadows. We wait for winter. I will not let my warriors die a dog's death today. No. Give me one more day and I will prove my worth, Haju yelled, desperate to show his hidden strength. Sensing the lethal tension, 𝒂𝒓 quickly stepped in. My lord, please listen to the great leader. We shall return later. Namju's eyes turned sharp as a blade. He stared at the soldier with a chilling intensity. You, what is your name? My name is 𝒂𝒓, sir, the soldier stammered, feeling an icy chill crawl down his spine at that murderous gaze. A cold smirk played on Namju's lips. 𝒂𝒓, huh? It seems today is simply your unlucky day, he whispered dangerously. A flash of silver cut the air. With one swift strike, Namju ended 𝒂𝒓's life, leaving him cold on the ground. As the body hit the dirt, Namju turned back. Listen well. A Joseon scout unit has already infiltrated our very ranks. A leader never shares vital secrets with those beneath him. Silence is the only way to ensure our tribe's ultimate survival. Remember this, brother. Anyone capable of leaking information must be silenced immediately. No exceptions, no mercy, only the cold, hard blade. Suddenly, a massive explosion rocked the camp. Haju pulled back the tent flap, his heart racing. What is this madness outside? Chaos erupted. Flames licked the sky as the legendary Joseon warriors began tearing through their ranks like a violent mountain storm. Haju stood paralyzed as his men fell. They are already here? Namju mounted his horse, his face a mask of steel. They are faster than I anticipated. Move. Take the survivors and cross the river now. We must escape this living hell. A stray arrow grazed Namju's cheek, drawing a thin line of crimson. The elite commander's eyes widened in sheer, utter disbelief. Through the smoke and embers, a terrifying presence emerged. High above, an archer stood ready, his bow bent like a crescent moon. The archer lowered his weapon. Namju's blood ran cold as a name echoed in his mind. The god of war, Choi Yun-deok. Mount up. If Choi Yun-deok reaches us, there is no hope left. Cross the river now or face a certain, brutal death. I can't leave them, Haju cried out, his voice trembling. I will stay and fight these bastards until my very last breath. Namju's gaze turned murderous as he roared. Shut your mouth and get on the horse. That is a direct command, boy. With no choice left, they vanished into the thick haze of war, galloping desperately away from the slaughterhouse they left behind. From the hilltop, Choi Yun-deok watched them flee. Rage burned in his eyes, a silent promise that this hunt was far from over. Brother, I tried my best, Haju muttered as they rode. There is something I need to tell you before we go further. Save your breath. As long as we draw breath, we can reclaim everything. Just focus on staying alive until the sun rises. A projectile suddenly sliced the air. Out of nowhere, a stone flew at them, but Namju caught it with inhuman speed. Little did they know, this was all part of Choi's grand design. He had already unleashed his elite secret guard shadows. Even if we crush their base, do not lose focus, Choi had commanded. The true prize is Namju's head alone. The secret guards split into 4 deadly pairs, weaving a web around the escaping leaders, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. If one group loses the trail, the next must take over. We will hunt him until the very ends of the earth. Choi's voice boomed. The training is over. From this moment, you are no longer recruits, you are the Emperor's true secret guards. The warriors grinned, their spirits ignited. Kim Jiang, Du Mok, Gi-yi, and Chang Ryong. The legendary hunt had finally begun. Back in the present, Chang Ryong smirked. So he actually caught it? To catch my projectile mid-air. He is truly elite. Namdu frowned, staring at the stone. A pebble? He had not expected someone to attack with such a mundane yet weapon. I have seen people dodge, but catching it? You really are a monster. Chang Ryong laughed, his eyes glinting with excitement. You are quite the comedian, Namdu spat. Chang Ryong chuckled. Oh? Do you want to see my other hidden talents? Suddenly, I lunged. His eyes were consumed by a murderous red glow as he unleashed a strike meant to decapitate. You bastard! I roared, his sword raining down like a relentless thunderstorm. Every strike was fueled by years of training. With a roar of power, I swung his blade. The sheer force of his aura sliced through the charging horses. Namdu surged forward, calm amidst the carnage. But then, Jingong plummeted from the sky, his massive blade swinging downward. You must have a death wish to return, Jingong screamed. Namdu sneered. Let me help you meet your end. A heavy impact slammed into Namdu, nearly knocking him off. Chang Ryong grinned, readying another stone for the final kill. Let us see if you can catch this one, Chang Ryong shouted. But suddenly, a mysterious arrow pierced through the air. A sudden strike. Jingong's arrow forces Chang Ryong to release his grip. Yan charges with a roar. Li Namdu meets his gaze with chilling, murderous intent. Unsheathing his blade, Yan lunges forward like a lethal bolt of lightning. Steel clashes against steel, but Yan freezes as his blade begins to yield. Disbelief hits. The tip of Yan's blade shatters under the pressure. The two warriors circle like predators, tension thick enough to cut the air. Chang Ryong gasps. A single strike broke it? Yan stares at his fractured steel. Ignoring the damage, Yan readies himself. Li Namdu's expression turns dark. You seek death, Li Namdu sneers. Then his own blade snaps in two. Shock turns to a chilling laugh. Li Namdu finds this turn of events entertaining. Magnificent, simply magnificent. He roars, until a cold voice cuts through the air. Do you remember me? Yan asks. Memories of 5 years ago resurfacing. You burned my home, my family. Rage blazes in Yan's eyes. Li Namdu scoffs. What are you rambling about, boy? I don't waste my time remembering trash like that. He snarls with pure arrogance. You think your name matters, you greedy brat? Then, his voice grows cold. Wait. The winter at Mutrang. The boy hit by a flaming arrow? Yan freezes. Li Namdu admits. I wondered if you'd survive that hell. So, the survivor returns. Yan's fury reaches its absolute boiling point. Was that little girl your sister? With a primal scream, Yan strikes. Suddenly, a blade flies through the air. Yan catches it mid-flight. Yan catches the sword mid-air. Chang Ryong had thrown it with his last strength. Despite the poison in his hand, Chang Ryong helped. The duel reignites. Blades grind together. So you did remember. Yan spits with pure hatred. Li Namdu grins. Of course I remember every detail of that night. Aren't you just cursed souls born to suffer? He mocks, swinging with monstrous power. His sword becomes a blur of lethal steel, raining down devastating blows. Clang! Li Namdu catches Yan's hilt with his bare hand. With terrifying strength, he begins to crush Yan's blade like glass. Impressive, he whispers. Surviving the frozen river to face me again. Yan's teeth grind in fury as his hatred burns like wildfire. Shadows move fast. Chang Ryong charges back into the fray to assist. That's enough, you monster. Chang Ryong leaps, aiming a devastating kick. A massive hand snatches him midair. A scream of agony echoes. Li Namdu slams them together. Blood sprays as they crash to the earth. I let you live once before, he growls, dropping their broken bodies. You've come far, but your journey ends here. He lifts a massive rock. This time, there will be no mercy. The boulder looms overhead. The massive stone hangs above them like a sentence of certain death. I will leave nothing behind. Chang Ryong stammers. Is this the end? Jingong's voice pierces the air. Big brother, look out. As the stone falls, riders appear like phantoms in the dust. Yan, they roar. Li Namdu pauses, sensing a new threat. You're lucky today, brat. Li Namdu snarls, signaling a retreat. The villain vanishes into the shadows as the chase begins. Is he insane? He's charging straight at us. Dumak roared, spurring his horse after the escaping Li Namdu. Like a wild beast, Li Namdu lunged, soaring through the air to seize 𝑑𝒧𝒊𝒄's throat from his horse. Terror gripped 𝑑𝒧𒊄 as he turned. A cold blade was already pressed against his spine, ready to strike. With a brutal thrust, Li Namdu buried the dagger deep. Blood sprayed as the pursuers watched in horror. "Take him now and he might survive," Li Namdu bellowed, his voice echoing with absolute authority and power. He hurled the dying man down and seized the reins. The country boy had become a mounted legendary predator. "Move out, now," he commanded. His men hesitated, asking if they should finish off the shocked survivors first. "The Joseon army is closing in," Li Namdu snapped. "We cannot be caught a third time. Move out." Cursing their luck, the enemies retreated. Chang Rong clutched his head, reeling from the sheer shock of defeat. "I knew he was strong, but this is monstrous," he gasped. "He's like a tiger in human skin." Chang Rong turned to 𝒂𝒓, but the elite warrior remained silent, frozen in a state of total shock. A single tear rolled down 𝒂𝒓's cheek. The proud ghost shadow had been utterly broken by the boy. "Wake up, 𝒂𝒧𝒄! Don't lose consciousness!" His comrades screamed as the horses panicked in the absolute chaos. A mysterious rider approached through the dust, while 𝒂𝒓 lay there, staring blankly at the heavens above. 5 long years. 𝒂𝒓 had waited 5 years for a challenge, but this nightmare was not the plan. He had survived through hell and the screams of demons, yet standing before Li Namdu felt far worse. In that moment, he realized the truth. He wasn't facing a man, he was facing a true primeval martial devil. The memory of Li Namdu's overwhelming strength haunted him. The humiliation burned deeper than any physical wound. Those eyes. Li Namdu's killing intent was a suffocating pressure that left 𝒂𝒓 trembling with primal fear. Tears flowed uncontrollably as 𝒂𝒓 lay in the dirt. Suddenly, a booming voice broke through his despair. "What are you doing on the ground?" General Yi Sun-mong loomed over him, his presence radiating immense power. "Defeated by a single man? Is this your best?" The general mocked, his eyes narrowing at the fallen warriors. He stroked his chin, unimpressed. "Moping like a lost child over a mere barbarian? How truly pathetic of you." "The ghost shadow name is a joke," the general spat. Chang Rong quickly called out to the legendary leader. The general turned with a cold grunt. "You there, fetch a horse. We have a hunt to finish now." 𝒂𝒓 scrambled up, wiping his eyes. "General Yi Sun-mong." He stammered, his pride completely shattered. "Let's go, 𝒂𝒓," the general said softly. "I'll help you kill that monster and reclaim your lost honor. Bring me some wine," a voice shouted from the cells. The guards exchanged nervous glances, fearing the legendary prisoner. It was General Yi Sun-mong himself, lounging despite the chains. "Nobody ever listens to me these days." Heavy footsteps approached. Choi Yunda entered, his face a mask of fury. "You have quite the nerve, General. Still begging for wine even in this state?" Choi barked. The general simply crawled closer to the bars. "Come on, General, haven't I suffered enough?" Yi Sun-mong pleaded, putting on a dramatic, pathetic display of sorrow. "I have a terrifying wife and children waiting at home," he cried. Choi Yunda just sneered at the lie. "You're probably just headed to the nearest brothel," Choi sighed, finally unlocking the heavy iron prison gate. "Get out," Choi ordered. The general's eyes lit up with joy. "Are you serious? I am finally free? We've located the Yeon, Jin, and Liju tribes," Choi stated grimly. "My spies are moving in for the kill. Now go and do your job," Choi commanded. "This is your only chance for redemption and true service." Back at the camp, 𝒂𝒓 was still reeling. "That man, the legendary General Yi Sun-mong, is here?" "Follow me, 𝒂𝒓," the general repeated. "That boy's life belongs to us. I will kill him myself." The soldiers whispered in awe. "Is that really him? How did the great general arrive so quickly today?" Yi Sun-mong glanced back with a sharp smirk. "Good timing. Clean this mess up and follow my lead." Đam y chạy xuống ngựa mà nhanh chóng đi tới nói 𝒂𝒓 khi lại gần Đam y đầy ngạc nhiên. "𝒂𝒓, what happened?" she cried out, shocked to see the elite warrior in such a broken state. 𝒂𝒓 hid his face in shame. Captain Kim ordered the others to return and claim their rewards. "Follow me, Chang Rong," 𝒂𝒧𝒄 yelled. Meanwhile, General Yi Sun-mong watched 𝒂𝒓 with a calculating gaze. Moving like a ghostly shadow, General Yi Sun-mong lowered his voice. "What is your path? Will you join us? Or do you plan to rot in that village, living a silent, pathetic life?" Seeing Gi's burning rage, the general smirked provocatively. If it were me, I'd turn back now. Could your conscience survive such cowardice? Suddenly, the thunder of hooves echoed. It was 𝑙i-𝑛am-du. 𝑙i-𝑛am-du signaled his unit, pulling the reins hard as his horse screeched to a halt. Standing before his pack of scoundrels, a lackey shouted, "Boss, you're here. The getaway boat is ready at the river." Nam-du grunted in agreement. "Move fast. The Joseon army will be on our heels any second." A strategist narrowed his eyes. "There's a fork ahead. We split and prepare a lethal ambush. We'll buy time with a distraction, then regroup later. You two, take the lead." Nam-du nodded coldly. Deep in the woods, a voice whispered, "Curious, isn't it? Will he survive me again?" As Gi's group galloped forward, a scout shouted, "General Yi Sun-mong, a fork in the road is approaching." A soldier wearing a blue headband suggested, "General, perhaps we should divide our forces?" Yi Sun-mong's eyes flashed with intensity. "Fine by me," he replied. "You four take the left. I'm going right alone." The soldiers froze in sheer disbelief. "But General," one cried out. "What?" the general snapped. "I've no interest in babysitting you lot during a fight." With that, they parted ways. Two paths, one deadly destiny. Both roads lead to the river anyway. See you at the finish line. Now alone, the general's blood boiled with excitement. He let out a dark, booming laugh. "Ha! Let's see what kind of luck is waiting for me in this hell." Deep within the desolate forest, the moon vanished behind a shroud of thick clouds. General Yi Sun-mong glanced toward the heavens, searching for a sign in the oppressive gloom. Too dark. A perfect night for a funeral. Suddenly, a volley of poison arrows whistled through the air. Crimson blood sprayed into the darkness. It seemed the general had fallen, but a martial god doesn't die easily. Nam-du's ambushers emerged, confused. "What? Only one man? They're treating us like total jokes." "We got him, didn't we?" one whispered. The pitch-black night hid the truth from their eyes. "It's too dark to see a thing." "Don't let up. Keep firing until he's a pincushion." One crony scoffed. "Relax. It's just one guy." His comrade hissed back, "Idiots who talk too much are always the first to die." Like a demon manifested, Yi Sun-mong appeared. Steel flashed through the night in a deadly dance. "Did I hit them, or did I miss?" he asked coldly. As bodies hit the dirt, the survivors gasped in terror. The general's voice cut through the screams. "Where's 𝑙i-𝑛am-du hiding?" A bandit roared in a fit of panicked rage. "There he is! Kill him!" But another body had already slumped into the cold, unforgiving mud. A deep, terrifying growl echoed through the trees. "Touch. I suppose I'll have to find him myself." "Where did he go?" "Stay calm." Suddenly, the general was behind him, crushing his throat. "Shh! Just stay still." A terrified bandit shrieked, firing his crossbow blindly into the shadows. "Damn it! Look what you're doing! Find him! Kill that monster now!" "Which way did he go?" Yi Sun-mong's laughter chilled their bones. "Choosing the darkness was your final mistake." The predator had become the prey. The general blurred through the forest like a shadow. Every swing of his blade claimed a soul. Heads rolled as blood painted the earth crimson. One survivor gripped his blade, trembling. He watched as arrows flew toward the general, only to be dodged with godlike grace. A scarred man blinked, and in that split second, another ally was butchered. Panic set in. How does he know our position? The general stood amidst the carnage, looking bored. I must have missed one. He scanned the area, his mind sharp. So, the rat is heading toward Gi. Near Gi's frantic group, a voice wondered, "Will I catch that snake in time?" "Captain Kim-gang!" Sun-mong roared. He spotted two figures desperately boarding a boat. "It's Nam-du and Li-hu." The captain's voice thundered. "Don't let them escape. Take them down at any cost." Gi's eyes burned with an icy, vengeful fire. "Today, your blood will pay for everything." Watching them depart, his soul burned with resentment. That crushing humiliation, he would never forget it. With mocking smirks, they sneered, "You're too late, brats!" as 𝑙i-𝑛am-du's men roared in derision. Arrows hissed through the air, but the Gi squad dodged with the grace of elite warriors. The pursuit continued at breakneck speed. "Don't let them escape! Seize them!" the villains bellowed. Captain Kim-gang leaped from his horse. "Advance. Hold them until General Yun-mong arrives." Gi Yan's heart raced, hoping Min would intercept them. Suddenly, A familiar voice called his name. It was Yu Trong. Gi Yan. Stop. We can't capture those two on our own. The captain's orders were absolute. We must stall them until the general's forces arrive. Gi Yan's stubborn pride flared. I won't stop. Yu Trong roared back. Listen to me. Yu Trong's teeth clenched. Suppress your reckless nature. For once, let's work as a team. Gi Yan's gaze burned with resentment, but Yu Trong demanded they focus on the final victory. The targets boarded their vessel, drifting away. Our heroes galloped desperately to the water's edge. They're out of reach! Yu Trong shouted. Yet they both leaped toward the departing boat. Landing on the deck, they faced Li Namdu's mocking grin. How persistent of you, pests. Li Namdu's hand crushed Yu Trong's throat. Yu Trong bit down like a cornered wolf. Now, Gi Yan, Yu Trong bellowed. The small boat groaned, threatening to sink under the weight. Chaos erupted as the vessel tilted. Gi Yan launched a strike with explosive martial force. Li Namdu's expression darkened. Yu Trong laughed breathlessly. Your death is coming for you. The boat began to capsize. Just wait. Yu Trong whispered as the waves claimed them. A massive wave flipped the vessel. Li Ha-chu struggled in the water, cursing the heavens. Li Namdu remained silent, panic struck as he realized he didn't know how to swim. Desperation took hold. The captain clung to Li Namdu with an unbreakable iron grip. I'm not letting you go. But Li Namdu's eyes flashed with a sinister, murderous light. He turned like a beast, driving the captain deep into the cold, watery abyss. What monstrous strength! The captain thought as Namdu mocked his futile, drowning struggle. A fun chase, but you've become a nuisance. He shoved the captain further into the depths. As lungs burned, the captain searched for hope. Gi Yan, where are you? Below the surface, Gi Yan reached out. Little Dongdi was sinking into the dark silence. Her eyes drifted shut. Gi Yan's heart shattered. Dongdi! His silent scream echoed. He plunged deeper, fingers straining to catch the child before the current took her forever. The captain watched in horror. What is that boy doing? He'll drown at this rate. His own oxygen faded. Curse it. I can't breathe. The captain gasped internally. Suddenly, 𝒂𝒓 struck. A devastating underwater kick sent Li Namdu reeling back. The captain broke the surface, gasping for life. 𝒂𝒓 readied another strike against the villain. But Li Namdu was a viper. He countered with a bone-shattering punch of his own. 𝒂𝒓's face twisted from the impact. On the shore, an archer screamed in sheer terror. Li Namdu seized the captain, using him as a human shield against the incoming arrows. A wicked smirk played on his lips. The archer's hands trembled, unable to fire the shot. Is this the end? The captain realized, staring into Namdu's cold, triumphant eyes. Helplessness sank in. Suddenly, Gi Yan burst through the surface, desperately gasping for air. The archer was stunned. Gi Yan, what are you doing? Get out of there. But Gi Yan dived back into the depths. He refused to leave Dongdi behind. Not like this, he thought frantically, swimming against the crushing weight of the sea. He screamed her name. The archer was pinned down by arrows, watching the unfolding tragedy. Reinforcements arrived for the villains. An enemy boat pulled up to rescue their fallen leader. Lord Namdu, are you safe? They shouted, spotting the drifting Li Ha-chu nearby. Li Namdu boards the vessel, his eyes cold as ice. His men bow low, assisting their ruthless leader. Pull Ha-chu from the depths, they cry. But the boat pulls away, leaving the freezing water behind. Halfway up, he curses the heavens. The commanders watch in sheer fury as their prey slips away. Are you unharmed, my lord? A subordinate asks. Namdu stands firm, unaffected by the narrow escape. I'm fine. Keep moving, he barks. His men hesitate. Shouldn't they turn back and finish the job? The Joseon army is closing in. A soldier screams. We must vanish before the trap shuts tight. Let's slaughter them all, they plead. But a sudden, terrifying shadow looms over the entire deck. General Li Shunmong descends like a god of war. He lands on the bow with overwhelming pressure. Who goes there? A guard shouts, unaware that a sharp blade is already grazing his throat. With a flash of steel, the general claims his head. Finally, he sneers. The hunt reaches its climax. Another soldier is impaled before he can blink. You monster! Where did you emerge from? He gasps. Li Namdu! The general roars. The subordinates tremble, their faces pale with sudden paralyzing fear. Wait! That's the wrong man, someone yells. The general freezes, his sharp eyes narrowing in confusion. What? He growls. The soldiers point frantically. 𝒉𝒌 is escaping on that boat over there. 𝒂𝒓 is captured, the men cry in panic. Should we turn the ship around to save him? 𝒉𝒌 remains silent, his expression unreadable. He turns back, gripping an oar with deadly, murderous intent. If you aren't the leader, then perish, the general demands. 𝒂𝒓 spits back with defiant, burning rage. He is 𝒉𝒌's own brother, a soldier reveals. The general's eyes light up with cruel interest. A brother? Perfect. Since the tiger escaped, I shall take the cub as my prize hostage. I am the leader of yu-jung, 𝒂𝒓 screams. Do you dare brandish steel before my face? Suddenly, an object shrieks through the air. General, watch out. A soldier shrieks in pure terror. The oar strikes with divine force. Lee Shunmeng watches in shock as the wood finds flesh. It's a direct hit through 𝒂𝒑's heart. The subordinates tremble, horrified by their own leader's cold betrayal. 𝒉𝒌 stands like a statue, his arms still extended. 𝒂𝒑 collapses, sinking into the dark abyss. On the shore, the archers and 𝒉𝒊𝒋 freeze. No one expected such a heartless, legendary act. The general stares at his blood-slicked blade. How fascinating, he chuckles as the corpse floats away. General, are you injured? His men rush over. What kind of madness was that lethal strike? I'm fine, he scoffs. That strike wasn't meant for me. It was a cold-blooded execution. He murdered his own blood to protect his secrets. A truly brilliant and ruthless move, he notes. He laughs darkly. To possess such terrifying strength and a heart of ice, he is a monster. I wish I could have killed them myself. He praises the enemy's lethality with twisted admiration. The legends were true. Lee Nam-do is a walking calamity, far more dangerous than any rumor. Where is 𝒂𝒓? The general asks. Nearby, the boy's hands pass through a ghostly image. He reaches for his sister in the depths, but she is only a cruel, watery illusion. Tears stream down his face as he screams underwater. Suddenly, a hand pulls him toward the light. 𝒉𝒊𝒋 drags him to the surface, gasping. What the hell are you doing, 𝒂𝒓? I have to save her. I have to save Dong-ji. The boy cries out in madness. She's right there, he pleads. I won't lose her again. I won't let her go twice. Wake up! 𝒉𝒊𝒋 shakes him. Dong-ji died 5 years ago. Accept the truth and come back. 𝒂𝒓 freezes in shock. Everything you saw was a lie, 𝒉𝒊𝒋 shouts. A mere phantom. Your sister is gone. You know this. 𝒉𝒊𝒋's voice shatters the boy's fragile, broken reality. Panic explodes in his chest. He scrambles toward the shore, gasping for air and coughing violently. He collapses on the mud, shivering as a mysterious group emerges from the shadows behind him. Reality hits like a hammer. The terror in his eyes is absolute as he realizes his delusion. He flees, screaming into the night, forever haunted by the sister he could never truly save. The image of his sister drowning haunts his soul. He is trapped in the nightmare of her death. He tries to flee the memory, but stumbles. A dark, looming shadow suddenly blocks his path. It is General Cho-yi. Beside him, Lee Sun-mong sneers, mocking the boy with cold eyes. A shadow guard who fears water is useless. The selection process is now over for you. A scream pierces the silent forest. Treason! Don't let that rat escape into the dark. Arrows fly like lethal wind. The white-haired man gasps for air, his heart pounding fast. Damn it! He curses. This time, he knows the Reaper is finally catching up to him. Suddenly, a hand pulls him aside. Lee Nam-do's hounds continue their relentless, frantic search. Where is he? Search every inch. He couldn't have vanished into thin air. Hidden in the shadows, his breath is stifled. The hunters curse those elusive Joseon bastards. The white-haired man collapses in relief. Idiot, I told you to follow my lead carefully. There he is. The 4 warriors charge toward the river, boarding their small vessel. Dumak sighs. I thought I was dead. Chang Rang asks if he is still holding up. The captain looks back. Report status. Did anyone suffer any critical or life-threatening wounds? Somehow, I'm still in one piece. But 𝒉𝒊𝒋 stares into the distance, completely silent. Don't be so bitter. What happened to 𝒂𝒓 was never your fault, young warrior. The captain's voice is ice. Keep your feelings in check. Only the mission matters now. He's a ghost, Dumak whispers. Flashback. General Lee mocks the failed recruit's weakness. A water-fearing guard is trash. Cho Yi demands a full status report on the target. We lost him, General. The subordinates lower their heads in utter and total shame. This failure is on you, Gui Yi. The boy stammers, his face pale with pure terror. A hand suddenly grips his collar. Cho Yi hurls him ruthlessly into the freezing lake. Gui Yi thrashes in the dark depths. No one moves to save the boy from drowning. He crawls back to shore, gasping. Cho Yi looks down with cold and pitiless eyes. Go back home. We have no use for a guard who cannot even survive. You are wasting your life. Forget this place and live as a lowly peasant would. Please, General, no, I'll do anything. Just give me one more chance, I beg. Present day. I said I'd do anything. And here I am, cleaning filth. He shovels horse dung in silence. Suddenly, a loud and familiar voice calls out. It's 𝑑𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍. What a joke. Why is such talent wasting away in this stable? Locked in a cage dicing manure? This is a complete and total waste of potential. I appreciate the concern. But if you pity me, at least look me in the eye. 𝑑𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 looks away. If I'm seen talking to you, I'll lose my elite rank. Still seeing the ghost in the water? Have you still not moved past her death? Chang Rang scoffs at him. Why not just give up? Your struggle is utterly pathetic. A lowly commoner with a dream. Risking your life for a fate you'll never reach. You aren't a commoner, are you? There are other ways to survive in this world. Gui Yi's breath catches. Suddenly, an elite guard shouts from the distance with rage. Quiet! Stop talking to that failure. Disperse at once before I report you all. Isn't this too much? Even a simple conversation is forbidden among former comrades. Comrades? With a stable boy? Dam Yi hesitates, unable to find words to defend him. Shadow Guard intel is classified. Commoners have no right to hear our sacred secrets. Can you guarantee he won't talk? Association with him is a security risk to us. Gui Yi sinks into his shame. Suddenly, Dam Yi explodes, throwing a punch in pure rage. Your cheap sympathy is disgusting. Gui Yi watches in horror as the conflict erupts. The captain unsheathed his blade with a roar. 𝑑𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 barely held him back, pleading for calm. November 1432, Bongin Province. The group watched the bustling crowds, sensing a storm brewing nearby. Yu Chong's temper was legendary. 𝑑𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 recalled how his terrifying outburst left everyone trembling in fear. He is still your superior, Dami snapped, refusing to let the captain's insults slide today. Chang Ryong laughed it off. Gui Yi was warned that interfering in village matters was strictly forbidden. 𝑑𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 agreed Yu Chong had always been particularly harsh and bitter toward Gui Yi for no reason. Still, Chang Ryong noted with a smirk. He waited for us. He isn't entirely heartless, is he? Dami screamed in frustration. Having to ask permission for every little thing was becoming unbearable. Become a shadow guard, and your problems vanish. Gui Yi remained silent, eyes fixed on the horizon. Our moods are in the gutter, 𝑑𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 sighed. Let's drown our sorrows in some strong wine. You'll collapse after one cup, Dami joked. Suddenly, their eyes caught a brutal scene unfolding ahead. A violent mob was ruthlessly beating a young girl. Disappear, you filth, the thugs screamed out. The group watched in horror. The girl's face reminded Gui Yi of someone he had lost long ago. How can such injustice happen? 𝑑𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 muttered, his heart breaking at the sight of her suffering. He moved to intervene, but Chang Ryong blocked his path. Secret guards cannot meddle in village laws. 𝑑𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 hesitated, trapped by duty. Dami warned that one wrong move would cost them their status. Before the warning finished, Gui Yi vanished. He was already a blur of motion toward the mob. Gui Yi stood amidst the thugs, his aura cold. What do you think you're doing? He growled. Mind your business, immigrant. A thug sneered. Get lost before we make you regret being born. Interfere and you're dead, they threatened, claiming the girl deserved every strike for who she was. One man raised his hand to strike again, but Gui Yi's patience had finally reached its absolute limit. A devastating punch landed. Gui Yi pinned him down instantly. I don't care for your excuses. Silence, 𝑑𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 whispered frantically. You fool, you heard the orders. We cannot involve ourselves in this mess. Gui Yi simply smirked. Those are secret guard rules. I haven't officially joined that life just yet. The thugs roared in fury, charging at him. Where did this arrogant brat come from? Kill him! Gui Yi was faster. With a whirlwind spinning kick, He sent 2 men crashing into the dirt. A coward lunged from behind with a ceramic pot, aiming for Gi's head with murderous intent. Suddenly, a stone shattered the pot. Changryeong had acted from the shadows to protect his comrade. Gi stepped over a fallen body, his gaze piercing the villagers like a sharpened steel blade. "Is this your pride? Ganging up on a helpless girl?" His voice thundered with righteous, cold fury. He offered his hand to the trembling girl. "Stand up. This nightmare ends here and now." As she rose, Gi saw her clearly. The villagers watched them walk away, frozen in shock. "He's bolder than he looks," 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 admitted. "True courage always wins the heart of a beauty." An old woman shrieked in rage. "How could you let that wretched creature escape so easily?" 𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒂𝒍 snapped back. "Enough! Your cruelty is the only thing that needs to end here today." He warned her to handle grievances quietly instead of inciting a mindless mob to do her bidding. The woman cursed. "She's a thief, a Jurchen immigrant who doesn't belong on our sacred land." Gi led her away. She was a Juchen, a foreigner seeking a new life within Joseon's borders. These naturalized citizens came from many lands, seeking safety under the protection of the great king. The king's policy welcomed everyone from Japan to Thailand, aiming to stabilize the wild, northern frontier. It was a strategic move. Turn fierce warriors into loyal subjects through kindness and civilization's light. Invaders met the sword, but those seeking peace were welcomed as brothers under the king's law. The girl's name was Harry. She carried the memory of the king's mercy deep within her. While others stayed in enclaves, Harry moved north, hoping for a quiet life away from conflict. But fate was cruel. Her own kin raiders from the wild continued to hunt her and her village. Yan drags Harry away from the burning carnage. Suddenly, she snaps, striking him with a furious scream. "Let go! That hurts!" She barks, citing strict social boundaries. Yan stares, stunned by her sudden icy wall. "I appreciate the rescue," she sighs coldly. "But whatever you're expecting from me, I can't provide it." Yan shakes his head. "I expect nothing. You've just changed." She scoffs. "Weakness is a death sentence here." "Smart girl," Yan mutters. Her fierce spirit is captivating, reminding him painfully of the sister he once lost. The resemblance is uncanny. Harry catches his intense gaze and frowns. "What's with that look?" "It's creepy." Yan forces a laugh to hide his grief. "It's nothing. But why were those villagers hunting you down?" "Because I'm a monster," Harry declares. Yan freezes. "A monster?" She continues, unveiling her dark, hidden identity. "I sold secrets to bandits. I wore the mask of a traitor, betraying this nation for my survival." Yan's face turns ghostly pale. The hero's heart sinks. What are you saying?" Harry smiles coldly. "Regret saving me now?" she mocks. Yan's blood boils. "Enough! I should have let them stone you." "Shut your mouth!" Yan growls, unable to look at her. That expression, it's tearing his soul apart. He turns away, his heart a battlefield of rage. "If you're telling the truth, then vanish. Right now. There won't be a next time," he warns. "Cross my path again, and you're on your own." He leaves. Yan retreats to the lakeside, the weight of the past crushing him. Dongdi is dead. She's gone. "Stop searching for her ghost," he screams. 5 years have passed since that tragedy took everything from him. The truth is a bitter pill. She's dead. Accept it. He stares into the deep, dark lake waters. His sister's image flickers on the surface. It's just an illusion, born from my own crushing guilt. Break through it. He steps into the freezing water. Memories of his sister flood his mind, drowning him. Sweat pours down his face as terror takes hold. The legendary martial god talent is paralyzed by trauma. The hallucinations intensify, dragging him into an abyss. He collapses to his knees, completely broken and defeated. I can't do this," he whimpers. Suddenly, bam! Harry appears and kicks him into the lake. Yan splashes into the depths, shocked. He glares up, gasping. You bandit spy! What was that?" Meanwhile, shadows stir. A secret agent reports to his master. The rumors from the village are true. The woman in the mask. Harry. Wherever she goes, the bandit hordes follow like a plague of death. "Wait," Jang Rong interrupts. "We have no proof. The North is always crawling with bandits anyway." Another agent counters. The villagers are terrified. They believe she is the harbinger of their ultimate ruin. The lead investigator reads the secret missive. I see. This Harry is more than just a common thief. Could just be gossip, Jang Rong scoffs, but the commander nods. No. This suspicion is exactly our weapon. A scout's greatest gift is doubt. You've done well. The atmosphere grows heavy with the scent of blood. Her name is Harry. Track her every move. From the moment she stepped here, she was a target. Isn't this too much? A subordinate asks. We're condemning her based on nothing but shadows and whispers. The commander's eyes narrow. In this world, suspicion keeps you alive. We must be ruthless to survive. Barbarians remain barbarians. They are the enemy. Our sect was built to eradicate their kind without mercy. Trust a savage, and you'll lose your head. Remember that. The decree is final. Harry is now marked. Back at the lake, Jan gasps for air, his lungs burning. He claws his way back to shore. Soaked and shivering, his fury explodes. He lunges forward, grabbing Harry's collar with a murderous, shaking glare. What the hell is wrong with you? He roars. Harry just smirks. You were standing there like a statue. You look like you wanted to jump. She shrugs. I just gave you the push you clearly needed. Jan's face turns red with rage. You crazy woman. He prepares to unleash a storm, but then, ****, a massive sneeze breaks the tension. Harry recoils. Gross. Get your filthy hands off me. Idiot. Night falls. By the campfire, Jan grumbles. Are you insane? It's a full moon in the freezing north. You're going to catch your death out here, he mutters, shivering. Harry ignores him, tending the flames. You pushed me into a frozen lake. Jan cries. She doesn't blink. You were already contemplating a swim. Silence follows. Jan sighs. Why are you following me? Harry looks into the fire. I have nowhere else. A savage? Jan's sharp eyes didn't miss a single detail from the man lurking behind. Jan lowered his gaze, his voice heavy. I didn't know how to face a Joseon girl with Jurchen blood. I am Joseon, Harry declared firmly. I'm a legal resident here, just like you. I'm just a refugee fleeing the chaos of bandits. She began to recount her tragic past. We Joseon survivors clung to each other through the hellish journey. But one by one, they all perished. I only survived because of their sacrifices. Now, I'm the only one left. Jan listened in heavy silence. Eventually, they branded me with a cursed name. Jan's heart tightened at her words. A spy, a harbinger of doom. They say where I walk, disaster follows. Harry's eyes welled with tears. To them, my Jurchen blood is a sin. That's my reality. She stood up, masking her pain with a sigh. Forget it. I'm rambling. I'm Harry. And you? Jan finally spoke his name. Jan. Harry softened. Sorry. I was just lonely. Your eyes. They seem to understand. Next time, I want to hear your secrets. Those eyes of yours. They've seen a lot of pain, haven't they? She cast one last look at him through the flickering embers before vanishing into the shadows. Be prepared, Jan called out with a smirk. My story isn't one you can hear in a single night. It's a long, bloody road. Harry just smiled. The winter wind howled through the barren, skeletal trees. Deep in the woods, a hidden stalker watched Harry's every move. These brats are pathetic, he sneered. Starving, weak, and completely unaware they're being hunted like prey. But this intel is golden. The elders will reward me for this discovery. It all starts with, wait, where did she go? The scout's blood ran cold as the trail suddenly went dead. What? Impossible. He scrambled, his heart hammering against his ribs. Where is she? Looking for me? Harry's voice chilled his spine. Behind him, her face was a mask of cold, murderous intent. That's all for today. Don't forget to like and share for more epic martial arts legends.